everybody, and good afternoon. I just have a quick note for the students. Please make sure that you've made any final edits to your slide. We're going to go ahead and start sharing that slideshow pretty soon. Once it's in presentation mode, your edits won't come through. So if there's anything you need to fix before we get started, please do that, and we'll get started right at 1 o'clock. All right, everybody, it's 1 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. Dr. Tao, would you like to start us off with a few words?
Thank you so much, Cassandra. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to this great event. Our student, our faculty, advisors are all looking forward to view and interact with you on your capstone. So today we have about 20 capstone, and each one will have a few minutes to talk. Make sure you also, if you have questions, you can ask, but our chat board is open for further discussion after your time slot is ended. So for all of us, and especially for people might view this recording after the event, the capstone is the grand finale of our CS student. They spend 2 years in the program. They spend about 4 months in completing a substantial, professional, to me, a very exciting technology project that demonstrate their learning in the whole program. And some of the project might become successful and change the world sometime in the future. So this is exciting. I would love to see their presentation. And shall we start with introduction of our faculty and staff? Let me make sure. Why don't we start with Professor Robinson? Brian, you want to say hi?
Hello and congratulations. This is your final culmination of everything you've done in this program. And I've kept my promise to you. I told you 100 weeks ago that this 100 weeks would go by in a flash. And here it is. The flash has happened and here you are. So congratulations.
Thank you, Brian. Professor Wineski.
Well, yes, like Brian, congratulations to all of you. This has been about 2 years of hard work, but I think you will find that you get a big payback for this. So, and also, keep in touch. Let us know what you're doing in the future and what wonderful things and jobs you get. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor Cecil?
It is great to see each of you again in this great role. Way to move out into the world again. Many of you are already in great jobs and you're going to be continuing on. Others are going to find awesome things. You're in the right place at the right time and huge growth in CS. And many of you already know that. So we are happy to have you graduating from our program and you are shining stars. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, Professor Cecil. Professor Jha, can you see us? Oh, good. Professor Jha?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, congratulations to all of you. And I'm looking forward to the great presentations. Thank you.
Great. Professor Yeonjun Byung? Yeonjun?
Hello, everybody. I'm so proud of you guys. The reason is online environment is very challenging, but you did an excellent job, and this is a really good achievement. This is really great. Okay.
Great.
Thank you,
Dr.
guys.
Byung. Do we have any other faculty member? Good. Okay, well, true.
No. We have Mike.
Wait, I couldn't see him. McCann?
Yeah.
Professor McCann.
Oh, yes. Hi. Yeah, congratulations, like all the other professors said. I wanted to just add one more thing is that the personal projects that you engaged with in your capstone, I found is the secret to learning new technologies. And in this field, you have to commit to lifelong learning to be successful. And the ideal way to learn anything new is to pick a project that's of personal interest to you so that you have motivation to do the hard work to learn everything that you need to know. So good job on the semester, this term.
Thank you, Mike. So at the heart of the program, at the heart of the university is the faculty. I can tell you that when the faculty teach the class you're in, even after they finish your class, your name, your progress is always come out in our weekly meeting. So we work really hard for you, and the quality and dedication of our faculty really is a main factor of the success of the program. Almost as important as your hard work, the students. Let me introduce a couple others. We have a TA also with us. TA is an important part of the program. Dahlia, want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you all.
Thank you, Dahlia. And we have Kayla with us. Kayla, all of us, we know, she take care of students from day one when you're thinking about coming to the program until the very end. After you graduate, she will be the one connect you to all the process. And she's so dedicated and so well knowledge in our field. So she's indispensable in the whole program. Kayla, want to say hi?
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. Congratulations on this accomplishment. Capstone is always one of my favorite events to attend, so I always do everything I can to attend and celebrate you guys. Everything that you've done from here on out is going to showcase today. So congratulations. I couldn't be more proud, and I'm so happy to have helped you along this journey.
Not only she's wonderful advisor, she has quite a cool blue hair. And I believe
I know, thank you.
It changes sometime every year, different color. Great. Return back to Cassandra to give us some instruction for the whole event.
All right, yes. As a final faculty introduction before I start sharing my screen, I also would like to say congratulations to everybody. It's taken a huge amount of hard work, a lot of late nights and long days, I'm sure, to get here. So, you should be exceptionally proud of what you've been able to produce, but also just relax, take a breath. Your videos are pre-recorded, and this is really a time for you to sit back and enjoy not only what you've produced and show that off, but also see what your classmates have come up with. So this is definitely a celebration, no pressure, you're gonna do just fine. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and we'll talk a little bit about the agenda before we get started. All right, is everybody seeing the presentation?
Yes, we see.
Yes, I can see.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you. So looking at our agenda, we're right now in the opening section. So we've introduced all the faculty and staff. Let's take just a couple of minutes to go over the rest of the structure. So each student is going to, when it's their turn, unmute themselves, give us a brief introduction to your project. We'll play your video for you through Zoom. And then once that's finished, there will be a short Q&A session. And in order to make sure we have enough time to get through everybody, we've added a little more structure to this part. So if you have a technical question about the project, please go ahead and raise your hand while the video is playing. That way we can see who's ready to comment. Priority will be going to faculty members, but if other students have comments, that's fine as well. Our goal is for at least one person to speak for feedback each time. But if your question isn't answered, if we don't have a chance to get to you, please go ahead and continue that conversation in chat. And similarly, if you have any positive feedback, feel free to post that in chat, give the reactions, the thumbs up, applause. That is a wonderful opportunity. And for our friends and family watching today, we ask that you please stay muted throughout the festival. You're welcome to participate in the chat as well, but we want to try to keep interruptions and background noise to a minimum while students are presenting. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get started with our presentations. After those are done, we'll have a brief award session voting, so please make sure you stay till the end. But we will not be having any breaks during the presentation, so make sure you're present for yours. But if you need to get up for a moment, take a break, feel free to leave and come back. All right. Here's just a quick preview of our presentation order. Our students with external advisors are going to go first, and then students advised by Dr. Tao will make up the second half. And let's go ahead and start with Adam, Jason, and Marcus.
Hi, everyone. Adam speaking here. So as Cassandra said, Jason, Marcus, and myself, we worked with the local library who was impacted due to shutdowns with the COVID-19 restrictions. And as you can see here, we helped design and implement an application that allows them to go through and pick books and get them out to their patrons for home delivery in a much more efficient and much less manually intensive effort there.
Great, let's take a look at your presentation.
Hello, and welcome to our capstone presentation. Students Marcus Gonzalez, Adam Hauser, and Jason Pettit worked with the Oceanside Public Library to update their home delivery setup. We worked with the library to streamline the process put in place to pick and deliver books to patrons in their homes in response to the COVID-19 shutdowns. Our solution was to provide a web-based tool that allowed employees to pick books, check them out, and print appropriate labels. We also customized the labels and flags depending on the type of hold. For deliveries, we enabled an export of delivery data to be used with the routing program the delivery drivers use. Here's a workflow diagram for our project. On the left is the existing process. On the right, you can see the steps and updates we implemented to move from the manual paper process to an electronic one. First, we have the automated form that fills in from a query to the library database. The employee finds a book and scans the appropriate barcode, or if the book is not found, flags it as not on shelf. The second page is for item processing. Each item has a label printed specific to the type of hold, and the hold and item statuses are updated. For deliveries, the item is checked out and the delivery addresses are exported to a CSV file for use with the routing software. Our strategy was to translate the existing paper process into a web-based solution. We didn't want to implement any new systems, so we worked with the existing library database and communication protocols. Also, we wanted to provide something that was intuitive and easy for employees to use. Our challenges were identifying how to work with the existing database and communication protocols, remote network access, considering the library was shut down due to COVID restrictions and some development needed to be done on site, and client communication, which is an obstacle in any project we encounter. Here's a demonstration. This is a look at the circulation desk tool the library uses. Here we see a hold placed for Marcus. We move over to our application showing the hold. We've searched for just part of the title to make it easier to see, but we can remove that to show everything. Information to find the book is shown here, and we'll pick the item by clicking the Pick Item button and scan in the barcode. The scanners weren't hooked up to this laptop for demo recording, so we'll copy and paste the barcode number to simulate that. Clicking OK, a search happens to make sure the barcode scanned is a match for the hold type and item. Then the book is put on the cart. This is done for each book picked. We'll now move to the cart page to finish the process. Here we have a similar setup with key information up front. We have used the Search Panes extension to provide easy searching and filtering options for delivery, like if a library wanted to drive to only one district for delivery. We also have the button to export that search to CSV for their routing program. The button here showing delivery is dynamic and will show transit for transfers between branches or hold shelf for those holds that will be picked up in person. When we click it, it kicks off a label printing, shown here. The label is customized depending on the type of hold. For example, in location pickups, we'll have just the last name and first initial of first name plus title. The delay is turned up a little here for this demo so you can better see the staged information. As you can see, processing is now complete, and since this was a delivery, a checkout was also performed. We can validate back on the library's circulation desk system that, for Marcus's patron ID, the hold is gone and the book is now checked out to him. You can see how slow their legacy system is to interface with in just this one lookup. Note the hold is 0 and checked out item is now 1. In conclusion, the impact we've provided is to transfer a labor-intensive manual process to a simplified web-based workflow. This will help reduce staff time needed to provide the home delivery service to patrons. Additionally, with a more efficient process, we hope this may be a service that can continue for years to come once COVID restrictions are lifted. A few lessons learned from our project. Dealing with real-world clients. One can always have issues with communication, learning their systems and processes, and translating those discussions into practice. We had to use an iterative approach, but we're able to use many of the concepts we learned in CST 438 to be successful. And it was a real learning experience overall. We learned how to adapt to problems and found new and different ways to resolve the issues during development. We'd like to thank Samuel Liston of the Oceanside Public Library, our Capstone advisor, David Wisniewski, and of course the entire staff and faculty of the CSUMB online program, Dr. Tao, Brian Robertson, and Cassandra Eccles for this course. Thank you very much.
All right, any questions from faculty?
I have one. Which technology did you use for your web-based implementation?
A large part of the web-based implementation, we used data tables. And of course, we used a lot of other Bootstrap extensions as well. But data tables is absolutely fantastic for a lot of formatting and searchability functionality after you've been able to interface with a backend database.
Okay. Can I ask one more? I mean, here your capstone is focusing on the pickup process, right? Pickup, and then did you consider the other side, right? Customer returning to the library sequence.
So when we talked to the library, they already have an automated check-in process where the books get picked up from the delivery process and they run through a machine that's kind of like multiple conveyor belts. And as the book gets scanned, it gets shuffled across. So we did talk through it, but they already had something that was kind of in place that certainly the impact wasn't as high as picking it up.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, and they're actually doing a fairly high volume of this. So since the beginning of COVID, they're doing about 5,000 items a month. So that's about 170 items a day that they're going around and picking previously through a pretty manual process.
How likely the same system you build could be applicable to other libraries?
That was something that Sam was pretty excited about. Anybody who's using the same third party, that CRDNA system, would be able to implement this. There'd be some customization based on the location names that they have that they'd have to go through and update, but it's a high level of probability they'd be able to use it.
Wonderful.
And also the SIP protocol that our system uses is used across the nation as far as all the libraries go. So that would be applicable there as well.
Wonderful. Next time, if I go to Oceanside Library, I will say hi and say, well, remember our student did a great project for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Michael, easy dashboard.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Michael. Pretty sure you all know me by now. It's been a really good time spending time with you guys through this whole course. Anyways, yeah, this is going to be my project. A lot of this actually kind of came to me with a specific problem I encountered at work where we're actually translating emails into like reports or finding out pretty much like all this like data and pretty much translating it into visualizations through a lot of like Excel to graphs to sending an email out. So I kind of wanted to create a custom solution that will be able to have be done all in one place. And it will be a little bit easier to do by just opening up a URL. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great, let's take a look.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Lee, and this is a personal project of mine that I created called Easy Dashboard. And one of the reasons why I actually started to look into this project is because of work-related issues where we had to continually go through notifications and emails to be able to get current statuses of our service. So the problem is that a lot of these job industries are becoming a lot more data driven. And data is becoming the key factor in making impactful executive decisions. And translating this raw data into visualizations can be a very tedious process. Generating custom reports is time consuming and will need to be done frequently and periodically depending on the needs of the company. So here is an example of the problem. We have a table that we need to generate into a report. First, we need to generate a SQL query to query this table. And then we would need to translate this table into a graph and report to send to our managers or executives. So this solution was created using Node.js and Express in the backend. And this actually does a SQL query and it returns all the SQL data from that query into a JSON object in the response. And the front end, we are primarily using Node.js, React, and JavaScript. And for the report generation or the visualizations, we are currently using Highcharts for the graphs and Bootstrap for the aesthetics. And here's an example of the solution where we are able to convert that SQL table into a nice and pretty graph here. So here are the common use cases that you actually might see for the departmental functions. For the purposes of this demo, I'm actually going to be going over the IT data analytics dashboard sample that I created. So here is the sample demo that I currently have. And this dashboard is able to translate the raw data specifically for server management and web service statistics. So this is pretty useful for like a system administrator or a network administrator, where we're actually able to see like server usage, response times, etc. So on the top left, we have all the different users that's available. Here we have some cards that's going to show the throughput. We have the number of users and time since last down at the bottom here. We have the server status and some charts. And we also have some dynamic data that is actually being loaded. And when you hover over each of these items, you could actually get some more information as to what the data entails. Here is that sample solution graph that we actually showed earlier, where we can see the SQL data being turned into these nice visualizations. And another use case is for users to be able to modify this page on demand. So if you actually want to reorganize this into something more pleasing to the eyes, or prioritize an item on the top, you could actually move some of these items around. For example, I want to have the current response times at the top here, server usage at the bottom, and maybe I actually want the goose counts to be up here. And what this is actually using is grid layouts, and it's actually automatically detecting collisions. For some, you actually might be able to use this as a static area. So I don't want to move the users table, so I could actually have a static. And when I try to move it around here, what actually happens is that it will disallow me from moving it to this location. So in conclusion, the benefits and impacts for Easy Dashboard is that it will save resources and time, display important information all in one page, and show current status in real time. So we actually do not need to generate all these reports on the fly or if it is requested. Some of the improvements that can be done to this and some of the future items I wanted to add is the login authentication part, adding a little bit more functionality to the life cycles to be able to update real time via API periodically, and also have a settings page where you can add new users, modify SQL connections, and graphs. What I learned is that React is a very powerful language that can be added onto JavaScript to create these very nice dynamic web pages. And back-end and front-end processing needs to be separated in order for this to work. And handling everything from the back-end to the front-end is a pretty difficult process, but it can be done pretty easily with Node.js. So that is it for this presentation. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you will be able to use this for your own benefit. Thank you. Any questions?
Mike, that's outstanding. I can see it has a lot of potential. Visualization of the data is really a big scope moving forward. So my question, Dr. Jiang, why don't you start?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go, sir.
So my question is that how does your project compare to the commercially available product like maybe Tableau?
That's a very good question. I actually based it off of Grafana, which is kind of using like same technology, but it's a little bit more developed, allows for a lot more customization and SQL connections and a lot of different non-SQL connections. And it's, I guess it's more, well, those are all open source. Some actually require subscription. Mine's just kind of like a base project that you kind of like mess around with. And then, I mean, I'm not going to really like get people to pay yet anyways. I hope that people would use it to get kind of jump started up with their project, because all these different visualization and customizing it is pretty difficult. But once you actually have kind of like a layout or like a skeleton, it's kind of easy to move forward from there. So that's kind of like the whole point.
Dr. Jia?
Yeah, I would just say this is very interesting and very useful. It's kind of what I'm dealing with part of my work every day. And there are a lot of tools. One of them is a Tableau, like Dr. Tom mentioned. And what do you think, other than it's kind of easy, free, what do you think will be the competitive benefit of this tool versus the other tools potentially?
So I guess this is similar to the previous question too, but I guess I could expand on it a little bit more. I guess the benefit, a lot of the benefit is actually that all of this will be hosted on, like, let's say your own internal network within the company versus outside, where you're actually using like other proprietary tools in other companies, where it's hosted somewhere else. So you can have it hosted within your own network, so you don't have to deal with the security concern. And what is kind of happening in the back end is that we're creating like a really simple API that's going to be able to call to SQL Server and then get the data back, versus actually connecting that SQL connection to someone else's like platform. So if you actually connect to someone else's platform, they will say, yeah, we're not going to save all this data, and we're not going to be tracking all this data, but you never know. So I guess that's one of the key benefits of having it hosted on your own network.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
If there are any other questions or feedback for him, please go ahead and post in the chat, and we'll move on to Mirrored Fantasy with Andrew.
Yeah, so brief introduction. I wanted to make a project that kind of encapsulated everything that I'd learned so far in school. So I figured a multiplayer game would be the best way of doing it, because it's got to be efficient with its algorithms, and it's going to involve networking because it's multiplayer, and it's going to be a website. So it pretty much encapsulated everything that I had learned through school.
Great, let's take a look.
Mirrored Fantasy by Andrew Bell is a competitive MOBA-style game with a focus on objective completion, where teams are separated into their own lane and must compete to be the first to complete 3 dungeons to win the game. Before this, the MOBA genre had started to grow stale, with most games having the same formula of 3 lanes and a jungle, where you push towers till you destroy the other team's base. Our solution to this problem is in the dungeon structure and isolated lanes for each team, as well as building a platform for diverse ability interactions. The first dungeon, a player versus player dungeon, where a team member must go through narrow corridors that is exposed to fire from the other team. The second, a puzzle dungeon, where the team must solve a puzzle to unlock the objective with light exposure to fire from the enemy team. Finally, a player versus environment dungeon, where the team must fight a difficult boss encounter to unlock the objective. Each player will have their choice of magical-based abilities, ranging from a standard fireball to seeds that grow into powerful plant turrets. Each of these skills will have a direct counter from another magic type, such as plant seeds burning up when hit by a fireball, powering up its burn. Each magic type will have 2 different abilities, a projectile-based skill and a planned terrain-based skill. To implement this game, I wrote a 2D JavaScript game engine for handling, updating the entities as well as calculating collisions. Then on the client side, I implemented this game engine and added drawing to the HTML canvas on top of it so that you can visually see what is going on. Then, to add multiplayer, I made a Node.js backend to also run the game engine and handle what happens to the two entities when they collide, as well as updating the game state and sending it to each player. Then I used Express.js, a web framework, for handling GET and POST requests to serve the client front end. Making the game as a website made it easy for sharing, as the only requirement is an internet connection and a modern web browser. Outside of the programming side of building the project, I found most of the art assets used in making the game on opengameart.org. I then used Pascal for editing these sprites and building sprite sheets. However, when it came to the dragon, the file was too large for Pascal to support, so I had to find another tool. For this, I used ImageMagic's montage command for creating the larger dragon sprite sheet. The idea for this project was rooted in the fun I had making a few other games, Robot Saga and Golem's Quest. This Stack Overflow post that I saw that shows how to rotate an image to look at the mouse, this video showing how to use a quad tree for handling collisions, and finally, a Minecraft mod that I played a lot in high school. In the past, all the games that I had made were very tile-based. Seeing the quad tree collisions and having a tool to have the player look at the mouse, I wanted to make a game where the player was not locked to the grid. The main challenge faced during development of this project was keeping the server and client in agreement with what was going on in the game. Looking back, I probably should have started with the client just drawing information sent to it from the server, rather than starting with the client and trying to get the server to agree with it. After making the game engine, the first thing I worked on was getting the projectile abilities in place. The main highlight of each of the abilities is their hit function. This is called from the collision engine when the projectile collides with anything, and is where all the logic and calculations for what happens from that collision occurs, such as damaging the player or destroying other projectiles. From there, the game needed a map, so I made a map editor. Originally, I calculated in my schedule for this to be a quick 1 week of development. I was wrong. This ended up taking double that estimate, 2 weeks. However, I was glad I spent the extra development time on the editor, as it makes expanding the game and adding more maps very easy in the future. The key features of the map editor is when placing tiles, it does an adjacency calculation to draw the correct tile image, as well as mirroring the tile to the other lane, so you only have to do half the work. Being able to tag a tile as walkable, meaning the player can walk over it, and passable, meaning a projectile can pass over it. The next important element is being able to place regions on the map. These regions are used for handling when a player is in a dungeon, and when they try and pick up objectives, as well as setting the player's spawn. The last section of development was spent getting the dragon boss for the PvE dungeon to cooperate. At first he tended to be rather shy, as I wasn't properly handling loading images, and the bigger sprite sheet made that very apparent. But now, the dragon is a fearsome opponent with strong attacks and a large health bar. After getting the dragon to no longer play nice with the players, it was time to set up actual game events, such as starting the game when all the players are marked as ready, and ending the game when one team has placed all the objectives on the victory monument. The biggest thing I would have changed if I was doing this project over again would be to use TypeScript, as having the TypeScript compiler to double-check typings would have saved many hours of debugging. I also would have laid out more specific functional requirements, and better planning to keep track of what needs to be done day to day, rather than week to week. One of the biggest things that I learned from this project was how to handle state of the program and using networking to keep the server and the client in the same state. For the future of the project, I would like to have more maps and give the user the ability to easily select or vote for maps when readying, features that didn't quite make it into this development cycle, such as the terrain abilities and the puzzle dungeon, and finally, getting to play it more with my friends. Mirrored Fantasy by Andrew Bell.
Any questions?
Oh, simply I can say, wow, this is really great.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is really great, yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, it is, I always worry about students say I want to create a game because most games take a long hours. But you did it. That's fantastic. What would be your advice for future students want to do a game as their capstone?
So going into the capstone, I'd have I'd had a lot of experience kind of making other games, so this wasn't like my first time making a game. I'd also taken a few semesters of game design and TA'd game design, so I have a lot of experience kind of around game design. So I would say kind of look into it and probably use a game engine rather than writing your own. Writing my own took a lot of time.
Great.
Actually, I have one suggestion for this, not Andrew, for the faculty and staff. I think this demonstration could be used for the face-to-face game development course, like introduction or demo. You guys make this kind of stuff. And then this is gonna be a very good example of student product. Right? If you are able to share your, the demonstration itself is really great, and something could share with the other students for the game development, that's gonna be really good.
I have a question. Versus, you mentioned it would have been easier to make or use an existing game engine, and likewise, there's existing libraries for collision detection. But it seems like you wanted to implement those kind of on your own. I think for a programmer, those are great ways to really understand the technology, and then you have the experience then to use a library. And I just wondered what your thought process was. Were you doing this to fine-tune your skills?
Yeah, so most of it was to fine-tune my skills, and wanting to write it on my own was just kind of an added challenge. And at first it sounded like it might be easier to write it on my own, so I knew how all the pieces worked together rather than trying to learn a game engine. It probably would have been faster to learn a game engine retrospectively, but
Oh, great, good job.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Andrew. Next we have Pet Rex.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here among such talented students. I'm really excited to see the rest of the presentations. So our project is called Pet Rex. I'll let the video speak for itself, but our team worked really hard on it and learned a lot about web development in the process. And we hope you enjoy the presentation.
Great, thank you.
Greetings, everyone. Today I'll be presenting our capstone project, Pet Rex, an online pet record management system designed by and for pet owners. The Pet Rex development team consists of Southern California residents Levi Remington, Eric Stanton, and John Fleischle. Together, with a shared vision of success and quality, we've built a personally inspired record-keeping solution for health-conscious pet owners. When it comes to managing a pet's health and medical records, it's easy to get overwhelmed. A single dog alone requires proof of ownership, post-visit reports from the vet, a list of medications, and up-to-date vaccine records. These records not only hold legal value, but they provide critical health insights that dictate the general well-being of one's pet. For most pet owners, the current standard for storing and maintaining pet medical records is with physical printed copies. As pet owners ourselves, we've identified several key straining points in the pet care process, and they all lead back to physical records. The most glaring problem with physical records is that they do not scale well. The longer and more detailed a pet's health history, the more difficult it becomes to organize and maintain the records in any meaningful way. And when a stash of records grows larger and more haphazard, it becomes impossible to search through efficiently. In the case of transferring physical records, say to a sitter or animal health professional, the only option is to make copies of each record, or hand off the originals. Neither option is ideal. Finally, even if physical records are well kept, they are still inherently vulnerable to loss or damage. We aspired for a more efficient solution to pet record keeping, an account-based web application where users can enjoy the following features. Create individual pet profiles and share those profiles with others. Upload and store digital records to that pet profile so that they can be viewed, sorted, searched through, and modified easily. Track and monitor critical health data like medications, weight, or custom entries. To create this application, we employed a modified MERN stack, opting for MySQL over MongoDB because our planned data was highly relational. The MERN stack was chosen because its isolated component architecture enabled our team to develop features simultaneously, resulting in faster deployments and minimal conflicts. The consistent use of JavaScript throughout the MERN stack made it easy for members of the team to develop across disciplines, jumping between front-end and back-end with ease. And thanks to React's data flow hierarchy, we were able to construct a quick and responsive user interface. Other technologies used were Firebase to store uploaded documents, Sequelize to connect our backend to the database, and Heroku to deploy our application at minimal cost. This is the PetRex homepage. By clicking the Create an Account button, you can sign up to the website. Successful account creation will store a bcrypt hash of the password, ensuring the user's data is not compromised. Once created, you can log in with a unique session. Next, you'll be presented with the My Pets page. This page displays all of your pets in alphabetical order. New pets can be added by clicking the Add Pet button. Once a pet has been created, its pet profile picture will be automatically assigned based on the chosen species. Clicking on a pet brings you to its pet profile. Here on the About page, you can see basic information about your pet, along with customized allergy, food, and care notes. By clicking the camera icon, you have the option to upload a new profile picture for your pet. After selecting a valid file, we display a preview of your pet's new photo to make sure it's the one you want. If you click the Edit Profile button, you can easily update any of the basic information for your pet. This menu also allows you to delete pet profiles. By clicking the Share button, you can enter the email address of another PetRex user to grant them access to your pet's profile. Successful shares will be displayed in the share list and can easily be revoked. Navigate to the Records page to see a table of the pet's records. Here you can upload a new record, set the title, and even add some notes. The table itself is fully sortable, and the search bar lets you quickly find records by name. Uploaded records can be downloaded, modified, or deleted. On the Journal page, you can log entries about your pet to mark occasions or observe behaviors. We've included 7 different labels to help you categorize journal entries. The table itself is again fully sortable, and the search bar helps you find entries by type, name, or description. Saved entries can be modified or deleted very easily. On the Health page, you can document your pet's weight over time and observe a graphical display to help identify trends. Documented weights can be updated or deleted in the table below. The weights table can be sorted and searched through, like the rest. Finally, the Medications page displays a list of the pet's medications. You can add medications for your pet, search and sort through them, and modify or delete existing medications. Going back to the My Pets page, you can click the Shared with Me tab to view all of the pets that other accounts are currently sharing with you. You can view shared pet profiles, but cannot modify or delete them. And if you access the share list, you won't be able to see who else this pet is shared to. This is the PetRex experience. It's simple, it's easy, it just works. Throughout development, our team has applied learned skills from across our education. On top of honing and adapting existing skills, we faced unfamiliar challenges too, like React's freeform component-based architecture, which was markedly different from the rigid page templates we've utilized in previous web applications. Another obstacle was nailing down the right configuration to successfully deploy PetRex through Heroku. And finally, through conducting one-on-one usability tests with our target demographic, we were able to identify and address shortcomings in the user experience that would have otherwise gone unnoticed, like unclear or unappealing elements in the user interface. We've narrowed down several key features that could vastly improve the appeal of PetRex. First, we'd want to include a Reminders tab in the pet profile. Here, users could set custom notifications for important routines or upcoming appointments. Secondly, we'd like to adapt the application for mobile devices, where in-app document scanning and the Reminders tool would enable pet owners to track their pet's data on the go. Finally, we'd love to incorporate advanced pet profile sharing techniques, giving users more power and flexibility with the pet sharing process. Thank you for joining us on our presentation of PetRex. We look forward to hearing your feedback. Greetings.
All right, questions?
Okay, let me ask a
I
question.
think this is a great.
Oh, great. Go ahead, Brian.
This is a great product. I think I would use it myself. I remember having to evacuate because of the fires and bring in my dog, but all her records are in a file in a filing cabinet, and they would have been burned up if the place burnt down. So I see a really good use for that. So good job.
Thank you, Brian. This was a personally inspired project. Members of our team have dealt with similar difficulties, and so that's why we decided to create it.
Wonderful. Yeah, I would love to use it. I can see that as my dog gets old, I would love to see the dog food, dog toy advertised specifically for my type of dog. that would be a great resource for us. Very professionally done. I'm very impressed. My question:
Yeah, very
how do you,
professional.
yeah,
Looks
how do you
very
collaborate? How the 3 team member collaborate?
Well, we worked within an agile methodology. We were in constant communication, specifically on Discord. Each week we would sort of come together and form an agenda. And thanks to React, we were able to sort of delegate each member of the team to be responsible for specific components. And it was really nice because we were able to mostly develop independently, but then of course come together, and because it was all in JavaScript, it was really easy to sort of see why something might not be compatible, why components aren't working with one another. But overall, it was a very smooth experience. It required a lot of communication, and having an open mind and compromising if needed. But yeah, our process was very similar to the one that we developed in the software development course in CSUMB Online.
Wonderful.
All right. Next we have Traffic Tracer. Nick?
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicholas Hines, and for my Capstone project, I built an application I'm calling Traffic Tracer. It seeks to use a business's pre-existing camera system to analyze the video data and provide the merchant with foot traffic data based off of their video footage.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicholas Hines, and I am the developer of Traffic Tracer, a merchant solution to foot traffic data. Traffic Tracer works with a merchant's pre-existing camera system to analyze foot traffic data and display this data to the merchant in a custom dashboard. The ideal customer for Traffic Tracer would be a retail business or quick service restaurant. Merchants today must compete on several levels to attract customers to their business and secure them as returning customers. They do not only need to compete with similar businesses in their area, but also increasingly with online competitors. A major advantage online businesses have over brick-and-mortar businesses is the metrics that they can get from analyzing their web traffic. Traffic Tracer seeks to alleviate this by providing a way for businesses to acquire similar traffic data. While there are other solutions that have been created to provide similar services to merchants, many of these either require specialized hardware or are limited in their ability to gather foot traffic data. Most businesses have pre-existing camera systems for security and insurance reasons. Traffic Tracer seeks to use this footage or footage from an installed dedicated camera to count and track customers walking into a business throughout its hours of operation. Then the app will provide this data in a format that informs the merchant's future staffing and other sales practices. Traffic Tracer seeks to provide this customer traffic data to merchants in their physical stores, and could thus help even the playing field between online and brick-and-mortar retailers. The ability to monitor traffic beyond just actual sales figures can allow merchants to make better staffing and operating decisions. Traffic Tracer can also be used to track specific interest in sections of the store, allowing a merchant to gauge what products and displays are more effective than others. This type of data use can give retailers the competitive edge needed in our modern era. Let's take a look at how it works. The video from the merchant's camera system is processed by a Python application that uses OpenTV to track and count people entering the business. Here I have a desktop version I built for merchants with older camera systems that cannot provide a stream from the camera system. They can select a file, have it processed, and the data gathered is sent to the database. This video pop-up here is for demo purposes and would be disabled for a live merchant. Now the merchant can view this data in the dashboard. The process starts with onboarding the merchant, deciding the camera being used, and setting up the requirements for that camera. Depending on the hardware the merchant is using, Traffic Tracer can take in the video footage in one of two ways. The ideal way, the merchant has an IP-based camera system and can provide us with a stream from the desired camera. In this case, we can constantly process the video, providing live data to the merchant. If a live stream is not available, Traffic Tracer can install a desktop application for the merchant to upload footage and have it processed into the database. Processing happens faster than regular time to limit the time it takes for the merchant to process data in this manner. Once footage has started to be processed, merchants can start to view reports to see the data that has been gathered. So merchants are required to log in. It's a test account. So here's the dashboard. Reports in the dashboard take two forms, charts and PDF reports. We look at the daily entry and exit totals chart here. So it's the 22nd and 30th. We pull up this chart. We can select the dots to get data for the individual points. Then we can pull PDF to pull data into a printable format. You can download or print this file. We can do the same for an individual day. View the totals. Pull the report. Give you individual entry times over a range. We get the scatter plot. We could do the same to get the PDF data. And once the merchant is done, they can log out. We're back at the home page. One thing I learned big from making this project was just how important representing the data was to the merchants. So really the future of this project for me would be creating more reports and along with adding more object tracking features for the merchants to utilize. So that's it for my presentation. Thank you for viewing and hope you guys have a nice day.
Questions? If there are no faculty questions, we do have a student question. So this is from Adam. I know you focused on retailers for foot traffic, but is there any capability for a place like a bar or concert venue to get a population inside at one time, like for fire marshal reports?
Yeah, so I'm keeping track of essentially entry and exit totals, and you could get a pretty accurate occupancy total from that. There's actually in the database, there's a section to keep the merchants like current occupancy up to date. It's just I wasn't able to partner with an actual retailer with a live camera system. I did most of my testing with my office that I work at, so implementing that wasn't part of it yet. It'd be more of a future thing, but everything's there to do it. It would just be about updating the dashboard for that.
Nicholas, a great project. So my question is that we have some projects are group project and some projects are solo like yours. Do you feel it's more advantage or more difficult to do a project like this as solo?
Yeah, I think I could have gotten more of the object tracking features accomplished if I had maybe like another person that could maybe focus. We could maybe divide the work between the web side and the Python object tracking side.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Daniel.
Hi, everybody. For my capstone, I created something called Project Leah. In my professional environment, I've worked with machine learning and Primarily, it's JSON data, and I've never worked with image data before. So this project represents my first real foray into working with machine learning and image processing together. This allows the user to take an image in, apply some artistic styling to it, and then return it.
Great, thank you.
Hi, my name is Daniel McGoldrick, and this is the Capstone video presentation for Project Leah, Life Imitates Art, CST 499, Fall 2020. Project Leah is an attempt to extend modern research and machine learning into the public space. Leah represents a desire to create a web portal, allowing users to use deep learning in the form of generative adversarial networks to seamlessly blend and adjust the artistic styles of your favorite paintings with the photos you take yourself. This creates the space for those of us trapped during quarantine to circumvent the amount of time spent on social media with creative endeavors that benefit us. As mental health hangs in the balance, threatened by political turmoil, raging wildfires, protests, and plague, there exists a place to inject some joy into our day-to-day lives. All of us have been impacted by the current situation and may be living life more idle than previous years. This means that we are spending more time being less constructive overall and likely spending more time on social media. The problem is that relying on your cell phone can have a negative impact on your well-being. The easiest recourse for many individuals is social media. Unfortunately, it has been shown that self-esteem was negatively related and narcissism was positively related to addictive use of social media and appeared to still have a small to medium-sized impact after controlling for sociodemographics. However, it is not a reasonable assumption that we can curb social media consumption outright, but perhaps we can push for a more creative precursor shown to have positive impacts on problem solving and self-perception. The solution then may be taking part in an artistic expression through applications like Project Leah. Evidence has shown that even a short series of creative self-expression or art-making tasks completed in approximately 15 to 20 minutes can result in individuals perceiving themselves as having good ideas and being able to solve problems. Inspiring users to spend time taking photos, working creatively, and using our cell phones to merge art with their creativity can have a direct impact on their daily wellness and self-perception. It is through the process of combining photography as a hobby with Leah as a creative pursuit that we can hope to have an impact on those struggling with the current pandemic and political quarantine. Leah has been implemented using a combination of Django for the web interface programmed in Python. Machine learning is done using Keras and TensorFlow, and the hosting is on Heroku and Cloudinary. This is a demo for Project Leah. When a user visits the web portal, they're presented with this template. They'll be presented with the style images currently available. Currently we have two, the painting Scream and the painting Starry Night. There's an upload field where a user may select a photo. There's a style key text box where the user selects which style image they would like to blend with whatever photo they are supplying. They can hit the upload button and that'll begin the process. Before then, this is the asset manager for Cloudinary. This is where all uploads and photos end up that have been edited by the model. So we can go and we can hit upload. And now we can move directly over into our logs and watch as it happens on the back end. It's downloading it. Information for the model, is computing the loss functions, blending the images together, reducing the loss functions, and trying to get to the best iteration of the image possible. On the local host, we have an example of the machine learning model that uses a similar structure. It selects a JPEG path for the base image, as well as a JPEG path for the style reference, and we can call process on those two images. You can see here it downloads the images, the first one being a photo of me getting my blue belt in jiu-jitsu. I was very surprised, in case you can't tell. Second was the stylistic photo for the painting Scream. Ran this for 4,000 iterations, which takes 2 to 3 minutes locally, takes over an hour on Heroku to do 10 iterations. This is one of the problems that we ran into. And at the end, it displays the output of the model. I can blow it up here so you can actually see some of the stylistic interpretations. The red matte walls have now become painted, and you can see the style of the painting being transferred into the image. I wish the web portal was capable of doing it. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get there. The struggles of this project were many, from changing the framework from Spring to Django a third of the way through the semester, from understanding that Heroku's ephemeral file system would not allow for image persistence, from understanding that the generative adversarial neural networks require way more computation that can be done sufficiently on Heroku. There were many, many more as well, but in the end, it all came down to hubris. This quote, "Never say, that won't happen to me. Life has a funny way of proving us wrong," stands out clearly at this point. All of the issues were explained clearly by our professors, our peers, and those that have completed projects from previous cohorts, but I had to learn those lessons myself. In the end, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't close, but I learned enough to say that I'm still proud. Future work on this application includes many things. First, a mobile application was the original stretch goal. Second, an intensity adjustment for the filters. This was originally the differentiating factor between Leah and other products already on the market. 3, a UI redesign that doesn't look like it was done by a first-year CS student. And 4, incorporating more filters and more machine learning to further enhance the user experience and their selections. In the end, a massive thank you to all of the wonderful professors, the staff, and the TAs at CSUMB. This entire program and this entire experience has been one that will stay with me for a very long time, and I just want to say thank you. Hi.
All right, any faculty questions or feedback?
Danielle, one of the original vision of the School of Computing Design is to merge the visual art, visual design with computer science. So your project kind of epitomized that vision that made me especially impressed. So my question to you is this, but how do you see this type of product could be more commercialized or make it more available to the society?
Well, I think the original stretch goal of the Android application or the mobile application is the #1 way to go. At this point, everybody's using their cell phones as their primary method of photography, and being able to quickly integrate into that, I think, would be key for it to have a larger impact in society. In terms of overall impact, I mean, Snow from Israel uses very, very similar technology in their image processing, and they were just valued over $1 billion. So there's definitely a lot of room in the space.
Yeah, I can see that a potential application is to you package this well and license or sell it to a photo processing store like Costco, right? They can add that as a feature. So, for example, if I upload my dog photo, it will make it a Picasso. I will buy it. I will buy it. It'll be fun. Thank you. That's very, very innovative, very intriguing. Thank you.
All right, next we have James and Lena.
Hi, so I'm James Doskasil, and my partner is Lena Dean, and our project is called Date and Be Safe. And so what we tried to put together was actually started as kind of a side project that Lena has been working on for quite a while now, which is to create a dating app that focuses on security, and not necessarily like login security, although that's part of it for sure. But one of the things she realized just from doing her own research is there's a lot of people that use dating apps to defraud people, to scam them for money, to whatever kind of manipulation, evil things that they can conjure up. Sometimes even just for fun. They use dating apps to do those things. So we wanted to create a dating app that can kind of mitigate some of those issues. And so that's what we have been working on. It's a work in progress. There's a lot of components to it that we didn't have time to really fully flesh out, but I think we were able to at least get the kind of the main concepts behind it functioning and working as far as where we're at with it as of right now. So.
Great, thank you. Let's take a look.
Baby, we can't continue to live this way. I've got to be home so that I will be able to treat you like my queen, help you recover your money, send you enough cash in your bank account. Honey, you shouldn't be working anymore. I will make sure that is done too, baby. Honey, please, take this last chance. This one will not go bad, I'm sure. Just 5,000, honey. You honey, get this money so that we can live a better life. And life we've been wishing for months. No more disappointment, honey. I swear down. Hello, everyone. Date and Be Safe by James and Lena. What I just read for you is a sample text message taken from a dating app. A scammer texting a woman online. He met online. Dating apps are very common and convenient nowadays. It offers a convenient way for people to meet online and it promises love. However, dating apps have one common flaw and one common enemy, and that's scammers. Scammers use dating apps to create fake profiles in the sole purpose of scamming people. They catfish people, they scam them for the money scams, romance scams, drugs, and sex trafficking. There's a big, huge organization of scammers that operates all over the world, but mainly they exist in Nigeria and Ghana. Scammers abuses the lack of security that dating apps offers. They can steal someone's pictures, create a fake profile, and use a fake name, and there is nothing that makes sure that that's the person that is creating a profile. Scammers usually are all over the world. However, when they create a profile, they can put a US address, and out of a sudden they can pretend to be here in the US. Dating apps offer matches according to your location, and if a scammer that lives in the UK put a zip code that is in Burbank or Monterey, out of a sudden this person have access to profiles that are in this area. And that's the biggest flaw in dating apps. So our main focus was security on our dating apps. We were focusing on security, and we were thinking, how can we come up with an idea to have a secure dating app that it will be hard to find scammers on it. First of all, we used React.js to create our app. Then we used Firebase to store our data and to host our app. So the two main problems in the dating apps are fake location and fake pictures. And for our app, we came up with geolocation and a camera that forced the user to take a profile picture, and I'm going to demonstrate for you. So this is our app. First, we have a disclaimer, a message here that warns the users that there are scammers and beware of scammers, and that's how they look like and that's what they do, and please report them. This is to bring awareness for the user that maybe you're not familiar with scammers. And then if we go to the sign up page, if you see immediately there's an alert that asking you to share your location, and if the person refused to share their location, they cannot have access to the sign up page. They have to give access to their location to be able to use the app. If we go back and reload, and let's say the user say, okay, I can share my location, and then it's gonna ask you, after it gives you access to the form, wants to use your camera. This is used to take a profile picture, which the user can upload pictures after, but they cannot upload a profile picture. It have to be a part of the sign up page. So if they block, also they get denied. So to fully be able to use the app, they have to give access to their location, and they have to give access to the camera, and that's how they will be able to sign up, and this will be their main profile picture. I'm just gonna show you how the app looks like. We have simple app. Those are fake profiles. We create them in Firebase. They've been pulled from the data in Firebase. They're called Tinder cards. We left swipe, right swipe, and that's how they work in a dating app. This is our logo we created. These are the buttons to like or dislike. This is a chat page, and we have also something called chat screen, where we can go and send an individual messages, and we press enter. So this is it, and that's our app. So it was fun working on this project, and we are hoping to continue working on it for the future, have a fully functioning dating app, have the chat features, better user pages, make it more affordable, and enforce more security features. And at the end, from James and I, we want to thank everyone on this amazing journey, CSUMB faculty, amazing cohort 9. And I would like to end our presentation with one of my favorite quotes: "Don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. Each day we must strive for constant and never-ending improvement." Thank you, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.
All right, any questions?
No one wants to sign up?
So Lena and James, how did you test your software? I noticed you are working on your local host.
Yeah, so kind of a couple things. Just as we were producing the code, we kind of did things in stages. As we went along, I kind of actually was more testing everything as we went, just to kind of see, okay, are things working properly? Is everything being sent to Firebase the way it should be? Or if at all, early on, we had a problem with things not connecting the way we wanted them to be. But then later, when we got to the peers testing stage, we got it live, hosted by Firebase, and then I sent out a questionnaire with kind of instructions, just having a couple people just run through, okay, try doing this without allowing the location, try doing it with allowing the location, now try logging in, now try doing, and so just kind of laid out several things for people to try and do, and then also left it kind of open-ended for them to leave comments, to leave feedback, just as far as any other things they might think that would be interesting. And so that was kind of the general idea, is just me trying to test things on our end, just going through the code, trying to break it essentially, and then obviously with the peer testing.
Thanks, James. We have one more question from a student. So Adam asks, for the location data, is that based off of IP address?
It's using the geolocation from whatever device you log in from. So I would say yes. I think that's how it's working, if I understood things correctly.
All right, thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to Fantasheets.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me today. All of these presentations have been fantastic, and I'm really proud to be a part of this festival. It's great to see all of our professors too. Sometimes I forget how many classes we've actually taken so far. Thank you for all of your help along the way. Anyways, I hope you enjoy my presentation. I had a lot of fun building this application, and I look forward to building it for years to come. Thanks, Cassandra.
Thanks, let's take a look.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to tell you about Fantasheets, and I am Mikey Reed. The problem. An average fantasy football draft involves drafting more than 150 players. Suggested rankings and cheat sheets created by experts are based on standard league settings. Most leagues do not use standard settings. This leaves managers to guess how players should be ranked for their league settings. The solution: Fantasheets. Fantasheets allows users to create custom draft cheat sheets based on their exact league settings. By taking a collection of experts' player projections and calculating values from user settings, Fantasheets can rank players precisely from each individual league. Fantasheets also allows players to save all of their different league settings for consistent use and tracking. How did we do it? Fantasheets backend is written in Python. We used the Django web framework and Heroku to deploy the application. For our database, we used PostgreSQL. And for our IDE, we used VS Code from Microsoft. Welcome to Fantasheets. Here on the landing page, we've allowed users to make anonymous Fantasheets where the settings are not saved. However, it only takes a few simple settings. This is if you're in a hurry or if you just want to test out what Fantasheets actually does. You can also easily make a standard league page, which are already set up with the settings of like ESPN's standard league and Yahoo's standard league. So if users are just looking for an edge up with more projections and more expert views, they can use a Fantasheet even though they have standard leagues. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the fun leagues. So let's log in with the right password. And here you can see we're brought to our Fantasheets that are saved. So let's create a new one just to show you how the process works. As you can see, we kept it simple even though there are tons and tons of settings to add. But by using jQuery, we've hidden almost all of the settings until they're actually needed so that we don't scare people off before their settings are put in. But we'll call this a test. And as you can see, as we add things, the settings start to open up. It makes it very nice from a user standpoint that you're not bogged down with a page that has hundreds and hundreds of settings right from the get-go. I'm going to fill this out and I'll get right back with you as soon as I'm done. Okay, I'm back and we have created our test, and as you can see, all of the settings are in here now, and now we can make a Fantasheet from it. And based on our league settings that we put in, these are what Fantasheet says that we should draft our players by. So we've got our actual overall rank, we've got our position rank, and then obviously the name of the player, the team that they're on, their bye week, their value, and their projected total points. And as you can see from this Fantasheet, there's a few quarterbacks. The first 4 guys are quarterbacks based on this test league. However, if we go back here to, let's say, Uncle Dan's league, where the settings are different, it creates a Fantasheet where if you look at the top 10, you can see that there's not a single quarterback. So that's the value that Fantasheets brings to users, is that every league is different, and based on your settings, teams should be drafted differently. This is the admin area for Fantasheets, and I just wanted to show you quickly how easy it is to import and update our stats, because all of the algorithms are based off of the stats. They need to be updated either weekly or even daily when you get close to a fantasy draft. So as you can see, we have tons of projections that we import into the site, and the software allows admin to import these very simply and easily. Once these are imported, admin can also easily filter them by either team or position or both, which makes it very nice. In conclusion, we learned a lot about Python and became enamored with the language. We also learned an entirely new framework in Django. All in all, this was a very successful and interesting project. Thank you to Professors McCann and Robertson. Thank you also to Dr. Tao and Cassandra. Finally, thank you to Cohort 9 and CSUMB. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks, guys.
Excellent job. I think I like it. Yeah. And then this is, I don't know, you mentioned the Python. What's your personal experience Python? I mean, what was your main language before the Python?
My main language previously was C#.
C#, and then Python. What do you think about Python?
I love it. I absolutely love it now. I read a couple of articles about 6 months ago that said that Python's really taking off and what everyone's looking for. So I started getting into it, and ever since I've been in it, there's no going back. It makes everything so much easier and so much faster.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, we have a question from a student as well, and then we'll move on to our next project. So Levi asks, have you considered automatically fetching the latest stats using an API, or does manually importing them make more sense here? He's not familiar with fantasy.
I definitely have looked into it. One thing that I did write on the side is an automatic web scraper to make this easier. I didn't actually have time to put it into the demo. But yeah, I did create a web scraper that automatically pulls down all of those stats for me and formats them into that Excel sheet that you saw me put in. So that saves a lot of time. Eventually, I would love to just be able to click a button on the website from the administration, but for the time being, we're using our own third-party app to pull stats down.
Great, thank you, Mikey. Next, we have Andrew.
Hello, hi, I'm Andrew Tirado. My project is Like a Camera. It's an educational website that teaches some basics in photography. So exposure is one of those topics that can seem kind of confusing, at first. So I wanted to create something that makes it a little bit easier. And that's pretty much it.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hello, I'm Andrew Tirado, and I'm a computer science student at CSU Monterey Bay, and I'm also a hobbyist photographer. My project, Like a Camera, was created because I wanted to demystify exposure in camera settings and help people improve their photos. Exposure, which is the amount of light that is captured by a camera, is one of the most important concepts in photography. In order to take full control of exposure, you need to have an understanding of aperture and shutter speed, as well as ISO. Unfortunately, not too many people know how to adjust exposure through their camera settings. In a small survey in 2012, Sony found out that a majority of non-professional DSLR users rarely left the confines of their automatic settings. It's true, modern cameras are fantastic, but sometimes there are situations where knowing how to use manual settings can help you through difficult shooting conditions or provide extra creative options. Like a Camera aims to be a gateway for anyone interested in gaining this knowledge. So to fix the problem and bridge the knowledge gap, I created an educational photography website that is both simple and accessible through most modern web browsers. The goal was to create a site that would be a great starting point for more advanced photography techniques. The entire site was built using the Express.js framework and with a combination of open source libraries, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The teaching approach was centered on simple lessons that are broken down to show the what, why, and how. Complementing these lessons are hands-on activities that reinforce the main topic. Outside of that, additional supportive features include a review sandbox, glossary, and an assessment test. With its non-typical requirements, the project did have its own unique set of challenges. Deciding on an approach definitely took a bit of research and trial and error. To create the simulated camera viewfinder, which is the signature feature, I contemplated real-time pixel-based photo editing, pre-rendered images, and WebGL options. But eventually, I landed on the HTML canvas solution, which I'll get into soon. Alright, let's take a tour of Like a Camera. The main homepage introduces users to the topic of exposure. It prompts them to proceed to the first lesson on aperture. Each of the main topics can be found at the top of the page as well. Each topic starts out with the fundamentals and key points. This comes in the form of curated images and text that I've written. Text is simplified for both the user benefit and ease of translation through third-party programs like Google Translate. After users read up on the basics, they are given an opportunity to experience and experiment what they've learned through a virtual camera viewfinder. In order to create this effect, I used an HTML canvas element. The canvas allowed me to layer multiple images to create a composite setting, in this case the foreground and background. However, the most important feature here is that image effects can be applied in real time to each of the individual image layers right before they're placed. In the case of aperture, here a blur effect is applied to the background as the aperture is adjusted, and a brightness effect is applied to all layers. The effect parameters are housed in an array and are selected as the user interacts with the slider. Different techniques were used in each section to create the proper effect. ISO, for example, uses transparency to produce the visual noise as the user scales ISO. In the shutter speed section, I wanted an animated sample image to demonstrate motion blur. But natively, the HTML canvas element does not support motion graphics. Rather than go the pre-rendered route, I utilized a third-party library to expand the canvas element to support motion graphics. Here, the stick and pinwheel each represent additional layers to the image and require their own special adjustments. And lastly, in the review section, there's a viewfinder that stacks all of the effects. It allows users to explore everything they've learned in one place. Layers with generated effects are placed carefully and in specific order to create the final image. Because camera demos were built to use swappable resources and render effects in real time, images can be easily changed to suit different scenarios or shooting conditions. For example, Halloween is coming up. Switching to a pumpkin patch background and giving the penguin a very convincing otter costume would be no problem. The glossary was built with JavaScript and the help of some referenced code. It functions as you would expect. Click on a key term and get a definition. Pretty straightforward. And lastly, there is a quiz. After you input answers and submit, the quiz is graded, with right and wrong answers being noted. I conducted a small user test that consisted of individuals who felt they were not confident in photography or exposure. The test results were very promising, as practically all the users reported that they felt more confident in their photography knowledge, and they felt that Leica camera improved their understanding of photography. 2/3 reported their understanding was now strong, while 1/3 said they gained an average level of confidence, which is a vast improvement from the 0 they stated earlier. Also, within this focus group was an experienced photographer. Their job was to rate the curriculum, and they gave it a good score. The process of bringing a concept to production was definitely a great learning experience. I felt like I learned a lot and definitely gained an appreciation for JavaScript and what current web technologies can do. Working through user testing was nice as well, as I got some interesting lessons in UI and user psychology. As far as upgrades go, I'd like to change the backend to be actually mathematically accurate. I'd also like to add iOS support. Alright, that's my presentation of Leica Camera. Thank you for watching, and I'll be around for some questions.
Andrew.
Yes.
Very useful. The interface seems to be very straightforward to work on.
Thank you.
Throughout this project, what's the most difficult part you encountered?
It was actually just the beginning part, like where to start. I just couldn't think of, like it was kind of an oddball problem to solve, like to create that viewfinder. So it actually took me a lot of time to try to figure out stuff that wouldn't be too, too slow to research. And that HTML canvas actually worked out quite well.
What do you foresee the difficulty to migrate this to iOS or Android?
So actually, that's kind of interesting. On Android, it actually natively works in a browser. It's actually, the problem is that with iOS, I think they use WebKit for their browsers, and it's like it doesn't work with the effects. Like you can load it up, but then all those filters that I use, they don't actually apply. So I might actually have to, maybe if I want true iOS support, either change the technique I did it, or maybe just build an iOS app, from the ground up.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure. Hello, I'm Andrew Tirado, and I'm a computer science student at...
Sorry. All right.
Yeah, this is really great, Andrew. Good job.
All right, next we have Austin.
Hey, good afternoon. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, basically this idea was near and dear to my heart. I do personal training, mostly to friends and family, and I've always wanted to make an application, a mobile application that was essentially a virtual version of myself, specifically in the way I train and how I go about training the people that I do. And I was able to get that opportunity here, and hopefully it came out okay, and I can continue to build upon it.
Great, thanks.
Fitness. We all know it is an integral part in establishing an active and healthy lifestyle. But with global pandemics, gym closures, and life events all conspiring together, many working adults find it difficult to stay the course to realize their fitness goals. This is Austin Alu, and as a lifelong strength and fitness enthusiast, I've always looked for new and better ways to train to be stronger and more resilient to whatever life throws my way. Now, as a student in CSUMB's Computer Science online degree program, I found the perfect opportunity to leverage my technical skills acquired within its curriculum to provide an accessible, simplified fitness training solution that anybody can get started with and benefit from immediately. There are countless mobile applications out there that offer people every exercise and program and body analysis that can be frustrating to navigate through and actually use effectively. What's worse, many people end up blindly following whatever training program is thrown at them, never really understanding and achieving the proficiency of the fundamental movement patterns that almost all strength training exercise is based upon. Working out just to work out ends up feeling aimless and unfulfilling. Training a skill to achieve mastery has purpose and is self-motivating. Introducing SimpliFit, an Apple iOS device-based application that simplifies individual fitness into systematic skill building of the 4 fundamental human movements: the pull, push, hinge, and squat. This mobile app provides specific movement pattern focused workouts that create proficiency and skill through repetition of technique, offering a reference library of video instruction and demonstration for each of the movements and related exercises. The consistent practicing of the routines provided will hone their form, solidify their strength and stamina foundation, and enable them to ultimately tackle any fitness endeavor they choose to take. Best of all, it requires nothing but a kettlebell, an iPhone, and the discipline and desire to show up and get the job done. Now here's a demo of the current version of the app in action. Okay, this is the main screen. We have 4 movement patterns to focus on. The 5th one is a total complex, which combines all 4 movements. We're gonna choose the hinge to focus on now. And now we will choose swings with push-ups, the green one, which is level 1. We look at the details here. If we like it, we'll select the plus on the top right. We need to log in order to add it to a program. And if you're a first-time user, you would hit the register button and add your email. All right, now that we're logged in, we can go to the program button at the bottom of the tab bar. That takes us to our program profile with 2 existing routines there. Our swings we added is on top. Let's go into it. Let's say we want to refresh on what a swing or how to perform a swing correctly. Let's go to the reference button there. We'll select the 2-hand swing from this list. And this will take us to my YouTube channel, where I will be performing the 2-hand kettlebell swing. You can also subscribe to my channel if you want. Okay, now that we're confident about our swing, we can start the workout. You hit the start button at the bottom. It kicks off the timer, keeps you accountable, and you can track your time of completion. And when you're done, just hit the left yellow button. And now you want to track your results and document by hitting the notes button at the bottom and the plus at the top. You can add any thoughts or specific details that would track your progress best. And it's time-stamped, so it's also best to do this immediately after your session. For details, you should put either time to complete, weight used, anything specific like that that you can actually improve upon. When you're done, you save it. And now it's there at the very bottom. You can view it, and you can also edit notes and make changes if you do need to. And if we're done with our program, we can go to the program section here. We can end the program at the bottom, the button, and it clears everything, and it'll archive it to the session history in the profile section here. Check the session history, all of the routines you ever did, and how many are here for you to recall. Currently, this feature is only for the user to see which and how many training sessions he or she has accumulated thus far. So to recap, pick the movements you want to focus on, you pick those routines, make your program, use any videos for help, do the work, record your progress, and reap the results. Although I faced and resolved certain technical issues like version compatibility with SDKs, database and vendor application security policies, the biggest challenge I put on myself was to successfully stand up a software product from scratch, with no prior experience in the required framework and language within a hard set window of time. This type of scenario is often common in real-world IT application projects, and fortunately, I was able to overcome this challenge, improving my adaptability and resourcefulness in the process. The lasting value I hope this application gives is the experience that fitness and general exercise can be accomplished from a movement mastery mindset and action plan, to know how you move or lift yourself or an object in everyday activity. Moreover, this mindset promotes skill development, which motivates the individual to keep them coming back again and again. Ultimately, I think this approach can undoubtedly prevent serious injuries now and later in life. Looking ahead, I plan on developing the app for Android devices, create more routines and instruction for those with preconditions, and add more progress tracking features in future releases. Until then, that's it for me. Be healthy, be fit, and thanks for watching.
All right, any questions for Austin?
Hi, Austin. This is Professor Wisniewski. Very good job. It's always nice to do something that you are
passionate about.
You're passionate about, exactly. Yes, good word. Good work. So again, maybe you said this in the presentation, but it went by so fast.
Yeah.
It looks like you're storing data, what, on the phone? Are you also storing, I mean, obviously the YouTube videos from your channel are coming from the cloud.
Right, sorry, yeah. The way I ultimately, I guess, implemented was all of the routines, the content that you see, like when you want to do a particular training session, that's all on the Firebase Firestore cloud. And as far as the notes, when they track the notes, I was doing some research, and it looked like for those personal notes, it was better to use the local storage database on Apple's on the iOS, which is Core Data. That's their proprietary. I was able to kind of quickly implement that. It was that was a lot easier to implement, but so that's how it works.
Okay, all right. Thanks.
Now, Austin, a quick question.
Yeah.
What do you foresee? Is it pretty straightforward to integrate this into a maybe Apple Health or other health app on the phone?
Well, I actually do want to incorporate this into the Watch OS, Apple's Watch OS for the smartwatches, because I know that is definitely emerging even more now, and I think also too. I mean, when I train personally, I have an Apple Watch, and I've been using that. I actually use that even more than the phone because it's right on your person, you know. And so I think just the usability and the convenience of having that, and you're able to track everything through that. I mean, I would like to link it with Apple's Health Kit, you know, as far as your, I guess, heart rate and all that stuff. That would be great to do in the future.
Great, wonderful logo. Where did you get it?
I found it. I kind of tweaked a little something I found online.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Good job.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Austin. We're going to go ahead and move on, but you have a couple of questions from students about your YouTube channel and about your experience with Swift. So please take a look at the chat.
Will do, thanks.
All right, next is Carlos.
Hello, my name is Carlos. I decided to work on a visitor management tool. I was originally working with a client, but I had to deviate from that and do my own thing due to some time constraints and also software limitations. So I had to start over, and it's a little bit rough, but I tried to do my best and get something out for the Capstone. My main focus was to have something done for where users can pre-fill the information. So when the visitor comes in, it's already pre-filled, and it'll speed up the process for them.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Hello, my name is Carlos Verduna, and for my directed Capstone, I decided to create a visitor management system. Its working title is Thermal Exhaust Port, or TEP. The reason I decided to go with a visitor tool system is because of the times that we currently live in. The Center for Disease and Control recommends that overcrowded areas and closed rooms are not recommended at the moment, especially during the pandemic that we're living through. We need to limit the amount of people in public spaces, such as waiting rooms, lobbies, especially in areas where people spend too much time in. My solution to the problem involves having a visitor management tool that internal user can use pre-filled information ahead of time. That way, all the information will be flowed down to the person manning the lobby, such as a receptionist or a guard, and the last thing they need to do is just verify the person's identity. For the project implementation, I broke it down into two different sections, a database and a website. The database stores the visitor data, and it's also linked to the forms, the lists, and the queries for the internal website to handle. The website will handle four main functions. These functions are to add a new visit, view the current visit, update an existing visit, and ultimately delete a visit. I did run into some issues while working on my project that changed the final product drastically. At the beginning, it was a little bit too ambitious for one single person to tackle. I had one table with many tables that supported it. I also had a lot of fields for my visitor table. I had to restart the project a couple times to find the right products to use. And I also had to downsize and downgrade some of the ideas that I had in mind and modules that I wanted to work with. So let's go ahead and take a look at the final visitor management tool that I have. This is the main page. In here, we can see the visitor list. We can see the first name and last name for the visitors, as well as the company that they're associated with. We can also look at the sponsor's email, as well as the visit state. We can also make some modifications, such as edit or delete the visit. If we go ahead and edit a visit, we're greeted with a form. It's a very straightforward form where you can choose the fields, such as first name, last name, company, sponsor, and date of visit. If we change the visitor's name, it will be reflected in our visitor list. We can also go ahead and just create a new visit. If we do so, we get a new form. You can just go ahead and add the new person. And go ahead and save that form now. Now we see it reflected at the bottom with all the other items. We can also delete the field. So if we delete this visit, it will be removed from our visitor list. The impact that I'm looking for my project to accomplish is to hopefully lower the time that people spend in public spaces such as waiting rooms and lobbies, where they find themselves in closed doors along with many other people. The information will be readily available by the guard or the receptionist. That way it will speed up the process where people need to sign in and the information will already be provided to them. The last thing they will have to do will be verify their ID via passport or driver's license. So there is a lot of improvement from my project in the future that I want to work on. A few of them involve working with the infrastructure that I have, expanding the database that I currently work with, expanding on the relationships that I have, creating queries on the website that you can just click on and have that readily available will be one of the main targets that I want to focus on. I would also like to implement new modules. Visitor management tools focus usually on the visitor, but there's many other things that can be added onto it. Example could be employee lists, maybe vehicle information, maybe facility involved in there as well. There's a lot of modules that can be added and tagged along. I would like to create user accounts. I would like to have an administrator account and then a user account that can see but not edit tables. I would like to also hide information, maybe have the admin be able to see sensitive information such as social security numbers, information that the user account won't be able to see. I would also like to add notifications in the future. So I currently have the email showing up, but maybe if we can add a button that you can just click on it and send a notification to that email, that would be very helpful. These are just a few things that I would like to expand upon and work in the future, but I'm sure there's many other things that I would like to add later on. Thank you.
Dr. Tao, you're muted.
Carlos? Yeah,
Yes.
can you share with us how do you test the system? Do you get any feedback from the user from the test for a user interface?
Yeah, so originally I didn't really have Bootstrap on it, so I didn't have any buttons. It was very bare. And one of the main things they said they would like to see some color, some splash on it. So I did play around with that. I obviously need to add more stuff, maybe like a logo or something. Just change the look and feel. Yeah. I did have 3 people test it, so that was the main way that the tool was tested, is through the users.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, then thank you so much, Carlos. Let's move on to.
Hello, my name is Carlos.
To Stuff Ride.
Thank you, Cassandra. Hi, my name is Christopher Caldwell, and my project is called Stuff Ride. I'm sure none of the students here know me. That's because I'm originally from cohort 7, and due to some family emergencies, I had to push my capstone back. But I feel this gave me more time to work on my capstone and do it right. I've seen a lot of great presentations here today, and now I hope you enjoy my presentation. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Hi there, my name is Chris Caldwell, and I am the sole developer of my Capstone project. The project's name is Stuff Ride. A couple years ago, my wife found an amazing deal on a used refrigerator on Facebook Marketplace. Unfortunately, for me, we didn't own a vehicle capable of getting that refrigerator home from the seller, nor did we have friends with a truck, nor was the seller able to help deliver the refrigerator. I ended up renting a big U-Haul truck, driving to the seller's house, loading the refrigerator onto the truck, tying it down, driving it back home, and unloading it myself. It was a lot of work and a lot of stress, and honestly, I did a poor job tying down the fridge, so it came home with a few extra dents. I realized this is a general problem. It's hard to buy and sell large items because it's hard to move large items. We've all seen furniture sitting curbside with big free signs on them as a last-ditch effort to find large items a home before chucking them in the landfill. How can we make it easier for people like me and countless others to transport large items? My solution to this missed opportunity is a web app called Stuff Ride. Stuff Ride is a mobile-friendly web app where people can list items they want moved and transporters can list their services. Stuff Ride also lets users convey trustworthiness to each other via user profiles, has a search feature, and provides real-time status updates during the delivery process. Stuff Ride uses Laravel PHP for the backend server and MySQL for data storage. For the front end, I use Vue.js, the Vuetify component library, and JavaScript for a pleasing presentation, as well as Axios for live page updates. Stuff Ride uses Here.com's GPS API to convert postal addresses to GPS coordinates for determining the distance between users. I use PHP Storm for my development environment and Docker to streamline setting up my development and production servers. For the project demo, I'll be using some of my automated browser tests to automatically fill in fields and click buttons. These tests also serve the purpose of allowing me to quickly verify the functionality of the site without having to test it by hand. You'll notice we have 2 browser windows here. The browser on the left will be the user wanting an item delivered to their house. The browser on the right will be our transporter looking for moving work. First things first, we need both people to register as users. The transporter on the right needs to register as a transporter. Then, the transporter needs to specify when in their schedule they're available to do moving work. Next, the user on the left will create a transportation request. The transport request will contain all the information the transporter will need to perform a successful delivery. The user on the left can then search on their request to see if there are any transporters nearby that will deliver their item. Once found, they can send the request along to the transporter. The transporter sees the request in their Notifications tab and can respond yes or no. If the transporter responds with yes, the transportation date is set and the request appears accepted on the dashboard for both users. For the transportation step, both users can visit the transportation event page. The event page shows real-time information on the state of the delivery, any delays, or requests for contact by phone or text. Once the delivery event is completed, the user has their item, hopefully in better shape than my refrigerator, and the transporter has been fairly compensated for their services. The hope is that StuffRide will enable a resale market for large items in a way that is not currently occurring. In addition, StuffRide provides yet another way for people to earn money on the side in a way that is hands-off and does not take a portion of their profits like similar gig jobs. StuffRide in its current form is incomplete. Before launching the service to the public at www.stuffride.com, I would like to add the following items: user reviews and ratings functionality, a physical address verification option with an associated fee, user donation and rewards program with custom flares, real-time WebSocket support, email verification, password recovery, a way for transporters to calculate their fees, and a system for users to control their information and privacy. In closing, I'd like to thank the staff at CSUMB for all their support in making StuffRide possible. And an especially big thank you to my wife for all her love, support, and patience during my work on StuffRide. Thank you very much for your time. This has been Christopher Caldwell with StuffRide.
All right, any questions for Christopher?
If there are multiple questions on the chat board, so Cassandra, can we?
Sure.
I guess I should be answering those aloud.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
So Greg Brown asks, what's the architecture? I'm using Laravel PHP for the back end. And then on the front end, I use Vue.js primarily for the user interface. And then I also use Docker to provision both my development server and the production server. So they're both running Linux in the back end, which, you know, if I test it on my computer, I can be relatively certain that it works in production as well. And I have a live server on, what's it called, DigitalOcean, but I'm not making it live yet because it's such a serious thing. Moving big items, I want it to be totally ready, no hiccups. Test run with users. Oh, go ahead, Cassandra.
I was just going to read the question out. It looks like Greg is also asking if you have any test runs with users yet.
Yes, I've had 4 users. So 2 of them were the transporters and 2 of them were the requesting users. And they got through it all the way to the end. Actually, in the first test run, they noticed a big bug where the transporters weren't coming up on the search, and I fixed it.
Great. One more question from Jesse this time. What about liability as with Uber or similar?
That's a great question. I want to avoid all liability. So this is basically a listing service. I don't accept any money for the exchange of transportation. It's just a place where people can list their services and list that they want something moved. I'm not really sure how that would put me in any liability, more than like a newspaper would.
Okay, thanks. Let's move on to the Forms tool.
Good afternoon, I'm Christopher Mendonça. My project is the Forms tool. Forms tool is a document population tool that uses Oracle BI framework to examine PDF layouts, populate them with data, and then allow the user to export it to their local drives. It's all in the video.
Great, thanks.
Governments run on paperwork. They have forms for everything, and the County of Fresno's Department of Social Services is no exception. Supervisors approached the DSS-IT department to see if they could provide a time-saving solution for their employees. It needed to be reliable, easy to use, and completed at little cost. Hello, I'm Christopher Mendonça, and my project is the Forms tool. The Forms tool is a web-based application that uses Oracle BI Publisher and Adobe PDFs to populate forms with data taken directly from a data source. It is easy to use and requires very little instruction. The user accesses the Forms tool by clicking on a provided hyperlink that takes them to the Oracle BI login screen. Upon logging in, they are presented with a clean, intuitive interface where they select the form or packet they want, they enter a case number and click Apply, and the client's data populates the forms fields with the client data. They can then export the populated PDF to their computer, and the form can continue to be edited and saved as needed. The only expense to the county is an Adobe Acrobat Pro license. Every other part of the Forms tool uses the county's existing infrastructure. Like many government entities and large organizations, the County of Fresno's DSS uses Oracle BI Publisher for report writing. The Forms tool exists within the Oracle BI framework used by the county employees, and because the forms can populate with client data, access can be restricted to those employees that already have prior authorization to view that data. The Forms tool consists of 4 parts: the front end, the layouts, the data source, and the data model. The front-end code presents the users with a clean and easy-to-use interface. It is embedded in an Oracle BI Publisher dashboard and is composed of HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and XML. It contains hyperlinks to the forms layouts and can be edited as needed to add new forms, remove obsolete forms, or even add entire new sections as needed. Whenever a new group of users requires their own custom forms tool, this can be largely recycled, with most changes being in the header with the team's name, the color scheme, and the links to that team's layouts. The layouts are the forms the user sees from within the framework of the Forms tool. These are the Adobe PDFs consisting of federal, state, county, or even completely custom forms with fillable fields. Any field to be auto-populated on the form, such as case number, name, address, or anything else stored in the data source, is given a name that corresponds to the column names in the data source, making that field an XML tag. These XML tags populate fields in the form with anything stored in the data source, including automatically checking or clearing checkboxes. When a user selects a form from their side navigation bar, it displays the unpopulated PDF. Multiple tabs can be created in a single layout to do things such as provide forms in multiple languages. When the user enters the unique value, in this case the case number, the data model populates the XML tags with the PDF and the corresponding data. The data model is an XML file that connects each layout to its data source. It is created specifically for whichever department the Forms tool was created for because it tells Oracle BI where to source that particular team's data to populate their forms fields. This adds another level of versatility to the Forms tool. Because the data model corresponds to a single layout, one application of the Forms tool can use different data sources for different forms. The last part of the Forms tool is the data source. This can be anything the team uses to fill out their forms. Prior to using a Forms tool, a department typically receives spreadsheets or reports with client data that they use to hand copy into the required form. By sourcing their report and incorporating that into the data model, the data can be taken directly from a database or even a static file. There have been a couple of challenges throughout the development, the largest of which is a lack of supporting documentation. Templating is a built-in capability of Oracle BI Publisher, but much of the available documentation is designed for documents that use the RTF format and for very limited purposes, such as creating invoices. Using this capability for such an ambitious project required a lot of trial and error. In the initial development, it was thought that RTF documents would be used. However, the behavior of the auto-populating fields was inconsistent between the form being displayed within the BI framework on the screen and the downloaded form. This led to unacceptable formatting issues. Adobe PDFs were used instead, as their formatting remains consistent throughout. Another advantage to PDFs is Adobe Sign. In the near future, county employees will be able to email their populated form to the client for signature with a single click. The Forms tool is an affordable solution to a real-world issue. It saves time, improves data accuracy, and is environmentally friendly. Because the forms remain editable after populating and exporting, the Forms tool gives any department using it the ability to go entirely paperless. The Forms tool is gaining popularity in my workplace. However, this application is not limited to my county's Department of Social Services. If your organization utilizes Oracle BI Publisher and is willing to secure an Adobe Acrobat Pro license, you can save time, improve data accuracy, and go paperless with a Forms tool of your own. In closing, I would like to thank Dr. Tao, Brian, Cassandra, Kayla, and the professors of the CSUMB Computer Science program.
Great, Christopher. A very useful tool. You know, I have a few property in Fresno. Whenever I see those forms from Fresno City, it get me very worried. So very practical tool. So my question is that you are one of the few projects that actually the tool you create is being used as you develop. Share with you, how do you interact with the real user, especially from a government setting?
We speak directly with the users. The very first iteration of this tool went live about 1.5 years ago, and that's the social workers of the county. We monitored usage, and if there's any sort of an interruption to their services, we get phone calls and emails within minutes. So we can tell who's using it, whether or not they're using it, you know, whether or not it's giving them an issue, anything. We can monitor how often it's used. I'm looking at usage data right now. And from October 1st to yesterday, there were 601 unique document requests from 91 unique users. So yeah, it is getting used.
Very good, very good. What's the future plan? Does the county or the city plan to expand the usage of the tool?
Yes, in fact, this tool that I created for this capstone, because I made it populate with dummy data to protect client data, we are creating applications that are going to work with the district attorney's office and with the sheriff's office. And so through an API call, we're going to be able to populate a form that they will be able to get from outside the DSS. And so doing it like this, we can demo it to them without compromising client data.
Very good. I know the application like this is not as sexy as dating app or game, but solve a real problem.
It's boring, but it's useful.
Yes, it is very great. Thank you.
All right, next we have George with Culture Connect.
Hello, everyone. This project was inspired by my personal challenges of searching for points of interest. I travel a lot for work pre-COVID, and I like to spend time in the places I go, just learning and seeing new things. I originally planned to implement this in Azure. As you guys know, I work for Microsoft, so I get a lot of free services and software. But then I wanted to challenge myself. So I forced myself to kind of get out of my comfort zone. And I ended up using Android Studio, which I learned through this course back in CST 338 and the Google Cloud. So here's Culture Connect.
Great, thank you.
The purpose of this project was to create a way for users to search a geographic region and find historical and cultural points of interest. The goal of this project was to make that search quick and effective, to be comprehensive and include as many results as possible, and also to help people discover the rich history that's all around us. There are many applications that provide similar functionality, such as travel and tourist sites, but many of them focus on the hospitality industry, such as hotels and restaurants, and many of them limit their focus to revenue streams from the points of interest that advertise with them. Although some filtering capabilities exist, it is difficult to search for only cultural and historical points of interest, especially the free ones. Even Google Maps, with its expansive database of locations, has some limitations. This is a Google Maps search for museums in San Diego. One limitation is that it is only truly effective when searching one category at a time. When combined with other search terms, the number of items returned for each term are reduced to keep the total number of search results at a constant level, thereby reducing the quality of the results. Google Maps has some filtering built in, but they do not cover a broad range of points of interest. The second problem is that the search area is limited by the number of items returned in the search. Here you can see that the cluster of museums in the search radius is about 2 kilometers. So I would have to search multiple times in multiple areas to get more comprehensive results for the greater San Diego area. Another problem is that other data is commingled with the search results. Google Maps is sometimes cluttered with ancillary locations such as hotels, restaurants, etc. And while this might not be a problem with one search term, it can be very cluttered otherwise. The solution to the problem was to create a mobile app to do the custom searches that focus solely on cultural and historical points of interest. To create this app, I used Android Studio and Java, and I leveraged the great database of locations that Google already has by using the Google Maps and Google Places API. Again, my goal was to create a way for users to quickly search an area and obtain comprehensive results for a broader range of points of interest. So once the app loads, you're able to access settings and preferences. And very similar to Google Maps, you're able to change the map type that's being used. There's even a night mode. There are several camera preferences. The bearing of the camera by default is looking north, but you can change that. And the zoom of the camera, how far away you are from the map and the details that you're able to see, you can adjust. And if there are any 3D features on the map, you can change the tilt of the camera to enhance those features. The search radius can be defined up to 50 kilometers from your point of interest, and the categories can also be turned on or off for your search results. Each category can return up to 60 items. So collectively, with all items selected, you'll get back over 600 locations, and that's 6 times the maximum of Google Maps. I also incorporated a autocomplete feature, so by typing a few letters, hints will be provided, and we're going to recreate the San Diego search, and immediately you can see the density of the items being returned is much greater. Because there are so many items, they'll continue to populate over a few seconds. But as we zoom in, another thing to notice as the clutter is gone, the hotels, the restaurants, the gas stations, they're just not part of our interest right now, so they've been removed from the map. And obviously the search radius is much greater than what we saw in Google Maps. There are other items outside of that area that I would have not seen. For example, the street art. Clicking on the item, you'll see more information on a photo if available, who took the photo, and any URLs that are available. I may have missed this statue at the baseball park. And I certainly would have missed this museum outside of the search area originally, the Montezuma Museum. Another feature incorporated is if I want to now navigate to this museum, I can easily launch Google Maps and get directions directly to that location from where I am, and then easily navigate back to the app. I couldn't wait to test the app because I had selfish motivations. It's true, I wrote the app for myself. I enjoy traveling, and the effort to find cool places to visit has always been a long and drawn out process. But here's what I found out. First off, I discovered treasure using my app in my own area. Within 2 miles of my home is a waterfall and an old Indian village, both with well-maintained hiking trails. I've lived here for 20 years and I never knew. This is Black Star Canyon in Orange County, California. And for my upcoming trip to France, I was able to search and find some great places that I didn't know about and add them to my itinerary. I tested the app with a group of friends and family and received overwhelmingly positive feedback. Sure, there were a few bugs in the application that needed to be fixed, and a few feature enhancements that were recommended, but overall I achieved what I set out to do. Still, there are several features that I would like to incorporate into the app, such as additional location categories and proximity alerts, and my plan is to add those in the future. This project was a great learning experience too. Android Studio is an amazing development platform, and having spent several weeks now immersed in the Google Maps platform, I know those APIs very well. Thank you for watching my presentation, and safe travels to you all.
Any questions for George?
George, I'm impressed. The quality of the app, nicely done.
Thank you.
Tell us, have you uploaded this to the Google Play? Was that a difficult process?
So I decided not to go that route. I would have to publish it publicly. And because the APIs are being consumed on my credit card, I didn't want to do that yet. So I actually distributed it manually for now.
How do people actually use it without on the API on the Google Play Store?
So in Android Studio, you can generate an executable, an APK package, and I just distribute that through email to my test users.
Thank you.
So it was pretty easy to get it out to the people who needed to use it, and some of them are still using it. I will use it. It's looked like a very completed product. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. And I want to call out too that, you know, before this course, I had never made a video. So thank you to Eric and to Levi for kind of giving me some guidance at the beginning of this course and helping me hone those skills.
Thanks, George. We have one more question in the chat before we move on. This is from Austin. Does the Google Store have a test flight beta delivery system like Apple's program?
So if you're an organization, you can do internal testing. And I thought that's what I was originally going to do. But it turns out that each of those internal testers need to be on G Suite. So I would have had to set up a couple of accounts, and it was just logistically not that something I had time to do. So I opted for this kind of other route. But yeah, so I guess to answer your question, Austin, there is a way to do that kind of internal flight beta testing.
Well, thanks, man.
Great, thank you, George. Up next, we have Jasper.
Hello, guys. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Well, hello. First of all, I saw just really great presentations, and I think everyone did a really great job. So to introduce my project is for a niche of people that likes to rap for fun. It doesn't have too much burden on people and making them feel like they have to be professional or anything. So it's a very lightweight, let's have fun, let's freestyle kind of an application. So yeah, enjoy my video.
Great, thanks.
Hold on, back on the beat, but that music advanced. Wake up in the morning, everybody say what's up. Jimmy on the mic and everybody get bust. Waking up early, but I really got a gasket. Rapper dead, so I'll put him in a casket. Waking up early, feeling like Curry and I gotta get it, really work and go to ticket like I gotta live it.
All right. The only thing that I heard in his rap was something about waking up early and doing a bunch of stuff. Other than that, I don't know, but I thought it was pretty cool. If you are also nodding your head like Justin while watching the video, then I think you might enjoy the presentation. Hi, my name is Jasper, and this is my capstone project, Spill Your Bars. Spilling bars means to speak out what you have in mind in the form of rap. I think you could guess what my project is about. Well, some people may ask, why do people rap? Well, there are people who rap to become a rap star and make millions of dollars. There are also people who rap to express themselves through poetic lyrics. But mostly, it's just fun to be with friends who vibe through rapping. This is similar to people who goes to concerts or play in a band during their free time. Freestyle rapping is one of those activities people do to entertain and connect with one another. However, as everybody already know, it has gotten significantly difficult to do this due to the coronavirus. Well, while all of these negative things are going on around the world, our fellow rappers are also trying to stay safe by staying home and limiting contacts with friends. Then how are they going to spill out their bars? And who's going to listen to them? Well, that is why I created an app called SPILB. SPILB is an app that allows users to rap with like-minded rappers whenever and wherever they want. Here's a demo video of the app in use. Due to the limited time, there won't be any actual rapping. Alright, this is the first screen after launching the app. The one on the right will just log in and the other will register to log in. We'll just add random email and the password field looks blank and it was done on purpose. And for display name, I'll just say that I'm Ice Cube. Alright, as you can see, the app welcomes users with their display names, and you can also see that there are rooms that are unavailable. Rooms won't be available if the room is either full or the session has already started. Let's create a room. The room creator can choose up to 6 participants to join, but for this case, we'll just choose 4. And you'll be able to see on the lobby on the right that it will automatically update itself. And there it is. Alright, and if you look at the room presents itself with its name and number of participants. The placement of where Ice Cube is represents the participant who will go first, and the name at the bottom of the circle is the next up rapper. The very bottom list displays the names of all rappers in the room as well. As you can see, only Ice Cube has the start button. This means that only the room creator has the ability to start the session. When the room creator leaves the room, then the next rapper gets the privilege. And we'll press start button now. Participant number 1 testing. Rapping for 10 seconds. And the participant number 2 rapping. And we have about 5 more seconds. Alright. Well, when the start button is pressed, only the current rapper has mic enabled and all other players are muted. And for demo purpose, we only set the time up to 10 seconds. And I hope you guys enjoyed the demo video. And we'll log out. To give you a quick peek of what was used to create this app, I used a programming language called Swift to design the user interface and connect to the database. Speaking of database, I used Google Firestore and FireAuth. Finally, I used a software development kit called Voxit SDK to allow voice transfer between rappers. I hope you liked the demo video, but there are more features to come. In the next update, the app will give beatmakers a chance to showcase their instrumental beats. This will allow beatmakers to promote themselves and sell their tracks. Secondly, we're planning on allowing users to add an avatar to represent themselves. Adding an avatar will further enhance the realistic experience of rapping on SPILB. And there's one more thing. There's also going to be a rap battle mode. Users will be able to hold rap competition and people listening can vote who rapped better. This is a really exciting feature, so please tune in for the next couple of updates. Thank you.
All right.
Question from the audience? Yeah, Jesper, I was blown away. It was so cool.
Thank you.
I never seen a computer science student do this. So talented, very, very nice. So my question to you is that have you tried this, because the timing is so important in this, right? So do you worry about the latency of the synchronization of the different voices?
So I did run into a couple of challenges. One of them was that there was a little bit of voice delay depending on the network situation. So if your network, I can't exactly tell you how fast your network has to be, but if it's fast enough, then there won't be any noticeable challenges. But I did notice some challenges, but to get that deep into the problem, I thought it was a little bit over the scope of the project, I thought. So I didn't get to go that deep. But yeah.
Very good, very good. So I want to just make a comment. Don't underestimate your project, not only to Jasper, for all of you. Well, think about a simple, really kind of simple idea of TikTok, right? And Walmart is paying how much? Like $10 billion for people sharing short video, and that's it. So a lot of time, a simple problem, a simple app that solve a problem or make people enjoy the kind of simple process of sharing ideas, sharing entertainment can go huge. So I encourage many of you, after you finish your degree, continue to think about how your app can be developed. Sometimes a simple idea doesn't mean it doesn't have a huge opportunity. So I'm very intrigued. Thank you, Jasper.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jasper. Up next, we have Mitchell and Nicholas Saunders.
Hello, everybody. My name is Mitchell Saunders. My brother is Nicholas. We've decided to work on this project together. And we felt that we had a specific need in our lives before COVID really broke out to make an event-specific sharing tool. So this is something that it plays on some aspects of our personal interests, and something that we would love to use, and we hope that other people would like to use as well. So enjoy.
Great, thank you.
Hello, my name is Nick, and today my brother Mitchell and I would like to introduce you to our project, Share More. We joined forces while attending California State University, Monterey Bay to solve a problem that we feel is important in today's environment. Using our newfound knowledge, we hope to share with you our solution to a problem in hopes to make the world just a little better. Our project's goal is to help people share more in a new and better way than what currently exists. In today's environment, when someone wants to share something like a photo, it can be a bit overwhelming as there tends to be a variety of options, ultimately leading to having no standard or easy way to go about it. Oftentimes sharing with others is done through social media platforms or on the cloud, but it requires trust in a company that they will protect your data. Not to mention, it also requires others to use the same service. This we find is a problem, especially at events such as parties, weddings, or other types of gatherings where everybody already takes and shares photos, but doesn't necessarily want their photos to be in the public view. However, there is no easy way for all these photos to be gathered in one place, and tend to be lost to time. Our solution is to provide a simple program that can be run on most major computers, where someone, for example an event coordinator, wants to collect photos for a party. Everyone attending is encouraged to share their photos by contributing easily through a crowdsourced photo sharing tool during the course of the event. Even though the focus of Share More is on privacy, the experience of sharing photos is similar to more traditional options. There is no need to worry about personal data being misused as our program automatically removes any fingerprinting. Furthermore, this program will never need to connect to the internet for it to operate or function. Our promise and focus is on respecting the privacy of all parties involved. This is of utmost importance to us, so there's no tracking of any sort. The only thing that is shared is what you wanted to share. Other services out there ask you to provide your information and require you to have an account, while we will only ask you to provide information in an opt-in manner with no accounts required. This way, everyone can share the memories they make together without worrying. We made this project using well-developed technologies that are trustworthy while also remaining open source and available for the public. The main technology at work in this project is Java, which enables an incredible foundation for a cross-platform application due to its use of virtual machines.
Now for a quick demonstration of our program. After the host opens Share More, they will configure the application, providing the Wi-Fi SSID and password, selecting which kinds of files can be accepted, and a few other advanced options. Then the host will start the website, and then they can navigate straight to it. Here you see the desktop version of the application. If you go to the share link, you will be brought to two different QR codes, one for connecting to the Wi-Fi, and the other which links to the welcome page when scanned. Once on the smartphone, the user can go to the upload page and upload the photos that they wish to share with everyone. After it has been shared, the user should go to the page view link to view each photo. Once they find a photo that they like, they can save it to their gallery or photos. As an optional feature, if the user clicks the contact link, they can provide their email address so that they can be notified of where to find all of the photos after the event is over. If the user wants to share this website with another user, they can do so by sharing the same QR codes that they accessed at the beginning. As a demonstration of the privacy feature we've implemented, here is a preview of a photo's metadata before and after it has been shared via ShareMore. The original photo is on the right and the new photo is on the left. The created and modified date has been changed to the date of sharing, and the information about the camera has been removed, as would any other device-specific information, including your location.
In conclusion, there are numerous benefits and impacts of ShareMore that have far-reaching effects. All of our users are greatly helped by more efficiently being able to share in a social world. We are changing the way people treat personal data in social environments. For both users and event coordinators, we are lowering the barrier for crowdsourcing and the difficulty of sharing photos at events. In general, we are fostering a mentality in individuals to be more hands-on and to find solutions to their own problems, where ShareMore is a small part of that.
During our time together, we have learned to grow an appreciation of software that not just works well, but is easy to use. It has become apparent to us that this type of software tends to be harder to develop. As Albert Einstein said, "Any darn fool can make something complex. It takes a genius to make something simple." We plan to continue development of this project and open it to the community. We would like to see this flourish as a media sharing tool in private and public circles across the world. Thank you, CSUMB, for the opportunity and support that you provided to us with regard to our education and Capstone project.
Any questions?
Question?
If there are no faculty questions, we do have one in the chat. So this is from Andrew. This seems really cool. Would there be a way of tying a location back to the image if you wanted to, such as for keeping track of where events happened?
Currently, that is not something that we have implemented. It's an interesting thought, though. I like that. I guess an event is something that would not necessarily be something that would violate somebody's privacy. So maybe changing the geolocation to a defined one at the event. What I was what the idea of getting rid of geolocation was to prevent people's personal locations, like home address, being getting rid of. If somebody were to share a personal photo that didn't happen at the event, it could be traced back to them. So I think that's a great feature addition that we would definitely want to consider, and maybe provide it as an option on the configuration screen for the event to set up as an option if people were comfortable with that.
Thank you. Anyone else?
So Mitch and Nicholas, I do think there's a wide application to this. Do you have a plan to develop further in the future?
Yeah, we have already a backlog of stuff we plan to do that we couldn't get into the purpose of the capstone. So we just said, okay, you know what, this is what we're gonna do, and then everything else we'll say we'll get to later. And obviously focus on a lot of other things like built-in slideshows. We already have admin permissions to like approve and deny things, stuff like that.
Very nice. I do see a lot of potential. Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And moving on to our final presentation of today, we have STEM ranks.
I apologize for that. I didn't know that was coming already. Good morning, everyone, or afternoon. Mine is STEM Ranks, and pretty much it got started from joining and trying to find a program for me to for a computer science program. And what I wanted to do was do some research, kind of like a Yelp for college, essentially. So it came from the problem of graduating from community college and then trying to see what an actual experience at CSUMB was, because I found that it offered an online program. So from that, it kind of, I never forgot about this program, and I luckily had the opportunity to build this application. So hope you guys like it.
Great, thank you.
Hello, my name is Roger Terrell, and I'm excited to share with you STEM Ranks, a web application to help future students decide on a college and set expectations based on reviews by current students and alumni. So let's discuss the problem. In doing my own research on which college to attend, it was difficult to know the actual experience a campus, degree program, or even specific course provides. I found that no platform existed to answer these questions. This is important because as tuition costs rise, making an investment upwards of thousands of dollars should be to an experience that aligns with your expectations. The solution is to provide a platform for students and alumni to give feedback and rate their own experience from a broad perspective of a campus to a narrower perspective of each individual course. It also provides guidance in what programs each school provides. The technologies I used were React for front-end, Firebase for authentication, database and hosting, and finally Bootstrap for responsive styling. Some of the challenges I encountered were underestimating the logic needed to aggregate and calculate overall scores. No SQL initial design evolved. Despite plans to only show minimal information, I found that it did not represent the application, so building review generating functions was necessary. And finally, no API is readily available for school information, so data was entered manually. So let's get a glimpse into STEM Ranks, but first of note, all reviews were randomly generated, scores with a list of preset responses, but even randomly generated reviews put CSUMB in first place. Math doesn't lie. Hello, and welcome to STEM Ranks, where students help future students with meeting their STEM educational expectations within the universities of the Cal State system. Let's take a brief look at the application. This is the homepage, and it comprises of 3 sections: top-rated CSU campuses, alphabetical list of majors, and top-rated CSU courses. Let's begin with the #1 campus, CSUMB. The first section is the general information box. It provides quick, useful information about the school to get an overview of the campus. Next is the top majors box. It shows how students ranked each major in their campus and how it compares with other STEM majors in the same campus, which for us is CSUMB. Below, you then see recent reviews, which provides what years the student attended CSUMB, what they rated the campus, and some feedback about the campus. On the header of this page is the overall score, which is the average of all the scores on this section. Let's say we wanted to add our own review. The plus sign on the top right gives you that ability, so let's give it a shot. I attended 2019 to 2020. It was an amazing experience. And we click submit. And there you see it. It gets added to the total, and a new review is added to the list with a new overall score and number of reviews. Great, but now we want to get feedback on the major itself. So why not? Let's randomly choose computer science. Once again, we got some general information, and once again, we have reviews. One useful feature of this page, though, is that there is a list of all the classes in the curriculum, and they are also ranked. Apparently, students' favorite class is network security, but I never took it, so let's go to my favorite class, graphic program. It's too far down for my liking. Now we're in the course page and shares a lot of the same features, like adding reviews, except it asks for months and years attended, which I won't do. I think you all get the point. But one added feature is that it shows where it is offered. Seems a bit redundant, but let's go back home. As you see the top-rated CSU courses, a course might intrigue you based on the title, and it'll take you directly to the course page and then show you where that course is offered. Lastly, there's one more useful feature. If majors are school specific, where does the link of majors take you? Let's click on mathematics. There is again some general information, but more importantly, you get a list of campuses that offer that major. The scores are still overall campus scores and not based on the major, but still a great list. Lastly, let's take a quick glimpse at the admin dashboard, which provides some forms to add campuses, majors, and courses, with dynamic lists that get generated when either of those three are added. In conclusion, this was a project I had envisioned since starting the program because it was difficult for me to find a computer science program that fit my need, especially with working full-time. The impact I envision is that more students get a better sense of what to expect as they choose a school, and that even if they don't know what they want to do, by providing a list of majors, it can at least provide options for what is available in the Cal State system of colleges. I learned how difficult data aggregation is with NoSQL and generally with review websites. I had also never used Firebase, but found it as a great tool for abstracting some features like authentication. In the future, there are limitless features that can be added, including search features, presenting data in tables, and adding community colleges. This was a great project to work on despite underestimation of the scope, as it provides what I had envisioned. Thank you for your time.
All right. Hopefully that was good for you guys.
Yeah. There are a couple in the chat. Before I read those off, are there any faculty questions? All right, I'll start with the chat then. So Christopher wants to know, is there a place in STEM ranks that mentions if a program is offered fully online or by searching by fully online?
Not yet, and that was actually one of the things that I wanted to add. But honestly, I think the simplest way that I was going to do that was just to add a major of a CSU, a computer science major for CSUMB dash like online, and then that would denote that, yeah, it would be online. But ultimately, it's like there was a lot of data that I wanted to analyze differently, but the search feature I think would definitely help that.
So Roger, that's great, and not only the site will allow students to compare, but I think it provides a level of transparency for prospective students to know more about the STEM-related degree, because for many students, unless they have family member or close friend in a kind of difficult STEM but wonderful major, they kind of shy away from it because they don't understand. So I do think that the site like this would not only provide the ranking, but also provide a more intimate, more direct information to the prospective student are debating should they go for liberal art or STEM.
Right.
So, so my question to you is that you mentioned you have difficulty kind of come up with the logic of the ranking. So tell us, how do you actually implement the logic?
Sure. So most of the logic was actually implemented. Hopefully Professor Cecil is not listening to this, but I didn't get to really do the MVC pattern. The logic was done mostly on the front end, which is okay for low data like I have right now. But once we start hitting millions of users, whatever it is, or even ranking ratings, it'll definitely slow down the front end. So the logic right now is I use NoSQL because Firebase provides NoSQL as their database. So the integration was pretty seamless, but designing that NoSQL database was definitely something that I underestimated. So for example, I'll make it really simple, is the campus is really easy. I just add up all the data, get the average, send and save that average to a campus. But the majors was not so simple because the majors did not have their own average score. They had to be aggregated from all the data. And then I have to check two things. I have to check, is this the school that I want? And is this the major that matches the school for that I'm looking for? So that's where it was the most difficult to do, is understanding like how the review sites aggregate the data for the majors. But the courses in campus was okay, because again, they had their own average per instance of that campus or that course. So yeah, that was definitely an underestimating, and that was where I think NoSQL was a little bit different as opposed to a SQL website or a SQL database. And it definitely shows how important it is to really plan out how your data is saved. So
very good, very thoughtful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roger. And with that, we are done with our student presentations for today. So let me go ahead and see if refreshing this will bring up the new schedule. Oh man, it brought us out of full screen, but that's okay. I'll go down to our current slide. So now that everybody has presented, it is time to vote on the best of. So let me bring that link up, and I will also post it in the chat for us. So if you'll go ahead and navigate to this bit link here, any friends and family watching, faculty, this is open to everyone. So feel free to go in there and vote. As a reminder of our categories, we have the biggest social impact, most innovative, people's choice, and project of the year. So we'll take about 15 minutes. Please go ahead and vote, and then use this time if you need a quick break, a stretch. And let's plan to come back around 4 o'clock to announce our winners.
Yeah, for people staying here in the room, welcome to take a break, of course. Welcome to ask each other questions, especially if we have faculty, if we have comments. This is a good time to share your comments.
How do you all feel? It's like one of the last things to do for this class, right? How does it feel?
Cathartic, in a word.
Surreal.
Yeah, it's done. I know some of you still have maybe a course or two, but this is the big thing. It's done.
Yeah.
I definitely want to say I'm so proud of all of you guys. Your projects have been mind-blowing, and it's going to be really difficult to vote.
That's right, it is. So when people are voting, let me take a couple of minutes to share my thoughts. Okay. That is truly outstanding. I was very impressed. Every year, the quality, the diversity, the creativeness increase for every cohort. So we are really, really proud. One of the design feature that we embed into the CS online program is to make sure students not only learn from the material, from the curriculum, from the faculty, but definitely intrigue, irritates, and learn and inspire from each other. Okay, and I do think that is an important part of the education. Sometimes I reflect my own experience. Sometimes I wonder myself that why do I work this hard? I'm much older than you guys. I already done everything, pretty much everything. But I thought about my classmates when I was in my program. I said, wow, they are so good. They are smarter than I am. They have a probably better family fortune. They work harder. The people working with me inspire me. And I do think that is an important part of the experience in education, that we not only learn from the wonderful faculty supported by an outstanding staff, but we kind of make each other better when we are inspired. So that's important. I know the collaboration is always difficult, but seeing other wonderful classmates make ourselves better. When I listen to your projects, I always kind of not amused and also worry. I said, wow, I cannot do that. How do they learn that? Where do they get that idea? How do they learn the new technology without the courses? And I can tell you that is really making all the faculty and myself really proud. And a lot of your project kind of epitomize the three things I always want to remind our student. Find your passion, find a problem around our society that needs solution, and find your skills. If your passion, your skill, and the need of society have that cross-section, and you will make a real impact. Okay? So many of your projects demonstrate that. So it was quite impressive. I'm really happy about this. The last thing is, this is often looked upon as a superficial video presentation. Put on a nice outfit, comb my hair, put a nice background, but I cannot underestimate the power of not only the content but the packaging. So part of the design of our CS Online program since 300, remember 300, a long time ago, we start to make people think about presenting online. We critique about, do you put your face like that, or we go your background. Do you have a messy bedroom? So we try to, over the 100 weeks, continue to make people comfortable and skillful using digital media to communicate and package yourself and package your project. And I think you all achieved that. So I was so every time we have twice capstone in a year, it's exhausting. We have to pay attention to every single one, but it's always feel. Yeah, boy, it is such a privilege and such a rewarding experience for all of the staff and faculty to see we taught you everything. So, so not everything, but quite a bit. So thank you very much. So please vote, and I'll also take a quick break. Cassandra, do we have an exact time we should come back?
Yeah, we're gonna try to announce straight at 4 o'clock. Brian and Kayla and you, Dr. Tao, we all have a group chat, so we can.
Okay. So I'm going to switch the group chat to make the difficult selection. Okay. See you soon.
Hi, Dahlia. Nice background.
Thanks.
Everybody had a nice background, and I have like my wall. But hey, I did my hair.
Hey, it's okay. I just got a wall, although I guess I'm not presenting.
Okay, now I don't feel that bad. I loved all the projects. They all were good. Like, so hard.
You guys had really impressive projects, and I'm surprised by how many of you guys decided to do it individually. That is just so cool.
It's fun how like the first class when we watch about Capstone, it was scary. I'm like, how are we gonna do that? And now we did it. It's just this memory from the very first class. It's amazing.
Definitely agree. And quite a bit of you had actually reached out to me asking, when I did the capstone, if I felt intimidated going into it. And wow, just to see how far you guys have come with your own projects is really impressive and blowing me away, because I would have never thought that you guys felt nervous going into making these kinds of projects. So good job. You guys did a wonderful job.
Just doing this and seeing everyone, and honestly, I feel like our cohort was amazing with everyone. So it's just the experience of it is everything. It's not about like doing the project, but doing the whole experience. It's fun. So it's cool.
It is very nice to see, how every single course we've done and what we've learned in it has come together. So yeah, I agree. It's very nice to see how capable we all are in presenting something like this.
I know. It's fun.
So Jasper, do you actually drop bars on the side?
What was that?
Do you drop bars on the side? Is that your hobby?
You know, if I'm having a beer and, you know, if I'm, you know, chilling, hanging out, sometimes, you know, I hum here and there.
You got YouTube videos for that? I want to see this.
Well, I think everyone has their own talent, and just like my last bit of my presentation, I'm not a rapper, but I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe we can catch on my app sometime.
Yeah, talking about that, you guys have so many projects that are worth it to keep pursuing. I highly encourage you guys actually put it out on the market because you guys have so many great ideas.
Jasper, I like your app. I might try it. I mean, I like the talent and the voice, but hey, whatever. Bye.
Thank you very much.
I always blame it on my allergies that my voice doesn't come out fully to its potential. But
right. Well, I mean, I'm not a rapper, but I think you just talk. You know, you don't have to make it sound like it's, you know, you're sounding like someone else. But
rapping is hard because you have to go fast and remember the lyrics and just sound good. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well. I don't. Well, that's the part where I wanted to kind of promote, where it's a freestyling, meaning you can just say whatever you want. Like, hey, there's a couch.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
There's a
I'll
couch.
be the next famous rapper in like a year or so, and I'll be like, yeah, I started all with Jasper's app and the couch. That motivate me, and I became famous. So
That's amazing. There's actually some streamers on Twitch that actually will just tell people throw out some random words and they'll try to rap it. So that's pretty funny.
Hey, have you ever like considered maybe people rapping in like different languages? So mixing words, that would be something new, a good idea.
Yeah. Well, so in Korea, there's a rap or a competition show called Show Me the Money. And that's basically, it's a rap competition for just any civilians, really. It started from there, and it started moved to China, and then Netflix came out with their own sort of rap competition show. So it looked like a rap competition, and this whole rapping thing was growing big. So I thought maybe it's a good time to rap with other people.
That's cool. Like, for example, I speak Arabic and French, and I speak English. Like, what if I make up a song with all three languages? And I switch, that would be a good idea, right?
That would be.
Something new.
Have more audience for you.
Yeah, like you switch, of course, people are gonna understand the Arabic, some are gonna understand everything. So that would be a good idea. And whoever like knows languages, they can use them and mix up words to come up with a rapping song, you know? I'm gonna do that.
I'll definitely let you know when it's out in the market.
Yes, please. That's gonna be my backup career. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you. But that Andrew's game was incredible. Yeah, I don't even know where to even begin making that.
Thanks.
Man.
I missed some of the presentation. Perfect timing for the power to go away in the internet. I lost about maybe 30 minutes. So, but I saw your game.
Hey, Andrew Dorado, I really want to try your camera app.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely interested in learning more about photography, so I could use some pointers. I'd really be interested in trying it.
For sure. Yeah, I'll probably send out a link maybe in the Slack chat at some point once it's finally polished.
So are you guys preparing to apply for software positions, or any updates, anyone?
I got something on LinkedIn, but it's related to my current position now. So I'm a manager in a bank, and Amazon contacted me to be an area manager. So I have no idea what is that. And the funny story, I thought for 2 years that Roger works for Amazon. And I was like asking him, he was like, I don't work for Amazon. I'm like, oh damn, for 2 years I harassed you about Amazon and you never said anything. So that was the joke about Roger, I'll know where to find you on Amazon. Oh yeah.
Roger's too nice. He's not gonna say no.
He gave up the idea at the end. He was like, yeah, I work for Amazon. He was like, okay, whatever. Whenever my shipment was delayed, I was like, Roger, it's all your fault. Where's my shipment? And Roger stopped explaining to me that he doesn't work for Amazon. And just a week, like last week, I realized that Roger doesn't work for Amazon.
That's so hilarious. I was wondering, how come you always refer to Amazon with Roger?
I know. He probably said at the beginning, like, I don't work for Amazon, but I didn't see it. And every time I kept like attacking Roger about Amazon, and I was like talking to him, asking him, he was like, so by the way, I don't work for Amazon. I'm like, oh gosh, for 2 years for Roger.
Yeah, I always wonder. I thought you were just messing with me. I'm like, I know she knows how to work for that, right?
Roger, where's my package? It's late. It's your fault.
This power of Lena's positive thinking. Roger's like, I'm going to get that job now.
I know, seriously.
2 years I've been torturing him about Amazon, and especially
I don't think he's ever mentioned Amazon once.
I have no idea. I guess I don't know if he mentioned it, but like my brain refused to
No,
say it.
I think you thought because I do. I work for like a company that like does a lot of advertising for Amazon, but I don't know where you got that I was like a packager at Amazon.
Roger's combing through the boxes, finding, oh, this is Lena's.
Oh my
This
God.
one.
Roger, where's my package?
She thought you were the guy that stole her package that she was complaining about in Slack for weeks.
For like, oh yeah, seriously, for like weeks. I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. I program. I don't really deal with the packaging.
Responsible. I thought like
Roger, show me those roller skates that you have. I know you got them.
I actually do.
Why did you send her so many bottles that she didn't want?
yeah, that bottle thing.
About that.
It was creepy. It has 100.
You guys are making me cry.
Oh man, that was too funny. And like I said, I just thought, and then it was only until like what, last week that you were like, yeah.
Hey, Roger, by the way, this, and because you work for Amazon, it was like, I don't work for Amazon. For Roger.
Now I need to get an Amazon shirt or something.
Thank you for being understanding for 2 years, Roger.
No worries.
Dahlia's
Hurry up
legit crying.
and change your background, Roger.
Dahlia's crying.
Yeah, I am freaking crying. Oh my God.
Does Rosie think you're dying?
Yeah, I do stuff like
She's
that.
just bleeding herself.
Anybody have an interesting story like me? Accuse anyone of doing something and insisted? No.
All right, that was, thank you all for voting. That was a difficult decision. Faculty and staff, and was highly debated for about 10 minutes, but we are ready. Cassandra, we want to.
Sure, let me go ahead and pull the presentation back up. All right, so like Dr. Chow mentioned, we had several ties or very, very close voting, and it's always close. You guys consistently bring really wonderful work and projects. So regardless of whether you get an award now or not, just know that you've done some really incredible work. You should definitely be proud of what you produced. With that said, I think we're going to start with Kayla announcing the biggest social impact.
Hi, everybody. Congratulations and great job on all your presentations. I feel like every time I join one of these, it's just more and more high quality projects. So excellent job. I'm so proud of all of you. The biggest social impact, I know that COVID-19 has affected a lot of things, but the Oceanside Public Library home delivery system is the winner, helping with them this time around. So congratulations, Adam, Jason, and Marcus. Yeah, this is congratulations. You'll get an award. And I know Cassandra hasn't really fully mentioned it just yet, but I will also be sending a package to all of the winners today. So yeah.
Great, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thanks everybody.
Great. All right, so next for most innovative, we have SPILB. So nice job, Jasper. I think everybody really enjoyed your presentation, and we're excited to see what you produced, especially to add on to what Kayla said. Everybody who wins an award today, you will be receiving a mailed paper award. Kayla will work with you after the festival to get that sorted out and make sure we have your address and stuff. I will be making those, so just be aware that it might take a week or two before we're ready to send those out, but they will be coming. And with that, I will hand it off to Dr. Tao for People's Choice.
The People's Choice is a fun one and also reflected hundreds and hundreds of hours of work. The People's Choice is the Mirrored Fantasy. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of work.
It shows. It's a very great accomplishment.
Right, and that leaves Brian with Project of the Year.
Well, this was a difficult choice for all of us, and we looked at the voting, and it was so close. But I'm really happy to announce the Project of the Year, because it's a project that's so near and dear to my heart, because I just absolutely love my dog. So Pet Rex is the Project of the Year. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
That's an honor.
Yeah, I do want to comment many of the project, but especially the parrot is very polished, look like a complete product, and your presentation also is very engaging, very good example. Very proud of you. Definitely deserve the Project of the Year.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming and presenting, working hard, not just in Capstone, but through the program. You know, all of your hard work has really paid off. So we want to say thank you and also congratulations. I'll open it up for other faculty to also give their final remarks. And then I have a couple reminders for you about class. So don't leave just yet.
I want to take this opportunity to thank all the faculty. Every faculty's class shaped your knowledge, shape your skill, contribute to your capstone, and very likely will contribute to your future achievement and career. So thank all the faculty. And I want to let everyone know that faculty meet every week. Your name come out often, and their dedication is just wonderful. And I definitely want to thank the teaching staff for the 499, especially Brian, Cassandra, and I. We talk almost every day about that student's proposal. Is it really doable? Or that student's report, should we pass it or fail it? It's just quite a bit of attention with almost more than 20 projects. Cassandra is just masterful in managing all the detail, including this particular capstone. I couldn't be more proud of the teaching staff and the program. And mostly I want to thank all of you. You are the reason we are here. You are the reason we debated, day and night. You are the reason we always look at our curriculum to improve it, so we can all be supplying this wonderful program to you and the future students. So thank you so much. This might be the last time we see face-to-face, but we will have commencement. I think COVID-19 sometime. And hopefully I will see many of you, and hopefully we don't have to have the mask, so we can hug you. And I always feel it's a special occasion to see you face to face. And always surprised me is to see how tall some of you are, because you only see your head, and then when you come to campus, whoa, that is. So hopefully I will see you in person in commencement. Cassandra, we have other announcements and reminders.
I think Kayla has something to say.
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate everyone again. All of these capstone, the presentations were so great today. Thank you so much for just, showing off what you can do. And this is one of my favorite events at the end of the year alongside commencement. And I do hope that we can have a really big commencement ceremony to celebrate the 2020 graduates, the 2019 graduates, the 2021 graduates, because I don't think we're going to have one next year, but I will definitely be in contact with each and every one of you to let you know when commencement is going to happen. But congratulations. Like Dr. Tao said, thank you for just being you, because if it wasn't for you, this program wouldn't be here. So just know that we are very thankful for you and we're very proud of you.
Thanks, Kayla. And again, I know we've said it so many times, but congratulations. Wonderful, wonderful job. Looking ahead to the rest of the class, I think number one is, if you're able to, get some rest today. I'm sure preparing for the festival with your video and all of that took a lot of time, and maybe you haven't been able to sleep so much. Try to catch up on some rest if you can. And then as we wrap up, just remember that you have your final paper due on Tuesday. So that should be parts 1, 2, and 3. You also have a couple of smaller week 7 assignments and update your journal like usual. And then our week 8 assignments will be due next Friday. And that includes your peer eval, a really important exit survey so we can get some data on your experience and your thoughts on the program overall. Your final ILP website. So all you'll need to do is add in your capstone work now that you've finished, a capstone portfolio where you just gather all of your project files, your proposal and report, and bundle that up really nicely for us. And then, one final journal, one final update, and then you are done with the program. So you're almost there, guys.
Yeah, you said the report's actually due tomorrow night. Don't like to put that added stress on you, but we accidentally said Tuesday. So yes, Sunday night on iLearn, the report's due.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, tomorrow.
No worries.
Very good. Thank you so much. So proud, and I've so really enjoyed the presentation. Congratulations, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's been an honor serving you.
Everybody.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.